Okay, ma'am. A very warm good morning to one and all. If you're planning for a year, sow rice. If you're planning for a decade, plant trees. If you're planning for a lifetime, educate people. There are many ways you can make an impact on the world, but there is no greater impact than you can make than spreading education and empowering people who will empower and teach people who in turn will empower and teach more. And thus, in order to enlighten us with the teaching on how to make ourselves ready for the professional world, we have a very eminent person among us, Ms. Bandan Preet Mahajan, founder of Genius Editorial and Walk of Life, to share her profound knowledge on the topic getting ready for the professional world. Today, I, Ritu Singh, welcome you all on the eighth day of this personality development program organized by Training and Placement Cell, Army Institute of Education, Greater Noida. It's an honor for me to introduce her once again on this platform. Ms. Bandan Preet Mahajan ma'am is an alumnus of Miranda House. She is an internationally certified public speaking coach and has been running Genius Communication Skills, Life Skills, and Personality Development Unit for the past 20 years. She is a certified storyteller and a voice-over artist. She is also a youth skill mentor with several modules being delivered by her Plan Globe for professionals, executives, students, teachers, entrepreneurs, and leaders. She has been editor and proofreader to several coffee table books, magazines, college newsletters, and journals. She has assisted four research scholars with their PhD thesis. She has several awards in her credit. Some of them are Rajiv Gandhi Excellence in Education Award, the Educational Entrepreneur Award, Dr. Sarojini Naidu International Award, Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan Award, and many more. She has also initiated a virtual learning platform called Walks of Life by Bandan Preet Mahajan with core focus on leadership, learning, and life skills. We are pleased to have you, ma'am, on board. Now I request Dr. Abhilasha Gautam, ma'am, Principal Army Institute of Education, Greater Noida, to welcome our guest of the day. Over to you, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am. Ma'am has not joined, so on behalf of Principal Ma'am and Army Institute of Education, I welcome you once again, ma'am, and it's honor to have you on board. And I strongly believe, ma'am, that your deliberation and your tips on the topic will help our student to get ready for the professional world. So without taking much time, ma'am, I hand over the platform to you. Looking forward, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, Ritu, for the introduction, and thank you, Jyoti, ma'am, for the warm welcome.
Thank you.
So, okay. So, as always, as is our tradition by now, let's start off with a very interesting activity to energize you people, to rev up you all. So, a very, very simple exercise. I would like to see in the chat box the name of a movie and a song. But how do we go about it? Okay, Ritu, if you could unmute yourself. Ritu, you are again on mute. You need to unmute once again.
Sorry,
Okay.
ma'am.
So, Ritu, I'm sure you must have played the game Name, Place, Animal thing during your childhood.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so the game is on a similar track. What you have to do is you'll have to say start. I'll start, going ahead with my alphabet in the mind, and then you'll say stop. And the letter at which I stop, you guys will have to give me the name of a movie and a song starting with that letter. So we don't do name, place, animal thing. You have to give me the name of a movie and a song which starts with that letter. So Ritu, you'll have to say start, and then you'll have to say stop after some time.
Okay, ma'am. Start. Stop.
So I finished my entire alphabet. The letter is A. A. So let's see you guys typing in the chat box. Give me the name of one movie and a song starting with A. Let's have some answers in the chat box. Let me see how many of you are great film fans. Okay. Aetras, okay. And also the name of a song starting with the same. ए दिल है मुश्किल, अतरंगी, yes. अगर तुम मिल जाओ. I haven't seen this one. अगर तुम मिल जाओ. अच्छा, this must be the song. Avengers, yes. One of these very good movies. Ashiki 2, Atrangi Re. But guys, I need to have more songs also. So I've got a lot of movies here. Let's see if you know any songs as well. So I think "Eh Dil Hai Mushkil" is the name of a movie also, and there's a song also. So let's see if we have any more songs here. So a well-groomed professional, first of all, has to have a knowledge of all the fields, including movies also. So yes, I haven't got some songs here. I've got a lot of movies here. Any one song, anybody? ओके, ए मेरे दिल के चैन दिल तो पागल है, यस, आंखों के दरमियां, वेरी नाइस सॉन्ग हियर विनीता, गुड चॉइस. ओके, ए जिंदगी गले लगा जा, लगे लगा ले. Okay, so nice set of songs and movies, names of movies coming up, guys. So I'm sure you all must have gotten into this entire vigor and zeal of attending this session by now. So let's start off with our session for today, which is about getting into the professional world. I think it's a very, very pertinent topic, especially the fact that now you're about to be entering the professional world yourself within a span of few months or maybe some days. So let's start off on a very a topic which is very, very, very close to our heart, something we've been all doing since childhood. First of all, I'd like to know how many of you've read Alice in Wonderland. So there was this story. I think a lot of us have seen and read this particular story. So Alice in Wonderland. Let me see how many of you've seen that. So just type yes or Y in the chat box if you've seen this, if you've read this storybook. So Benita says she's done it. Anyone else? Why or yes in the chat box if you've actually read the story. Okay, Kanika, Jyoti, Benita, great. Yes. So, Benita, if you could unmute yourself and tell me what is the story about?
Ma'am, there was a girl named Alice. She
Mhm.
want to go. She met a rabbit who gave him a key where she can go to the Wonderland, where she can see what there is in that Wonderland. So that
Okay.
yes, ma'am. That's
Yes, so that's very beautifully brought up as a title or a crux of the story. And that's it. Why did I pick this up as a choice of story in this particular session is that because you people as freshers would be entering this professional world and you'd feel as if you're more like Alice in Wonderland. So just as she did not know what exactly she'll be witnessing, what exactly will she be going through, how she needs to proceed, how she needs to behave, or for that matter how she needs to stand in this entire set of Wonderland. Similarly, I guess there's a lot of confusion that you people would be facing before entering the professional world and as soon as you enter it also. So you will take some time to settle down. So however, it's really, really important that we are equipped both in terms of skills and both in terms of our mental health in order to be a part of this professional world, and not just be a part but also be very, very successful. So another question coming up, and this time let me ask Anita. Anita, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Good morning, ma'am.
So, good morning, Anita. So let me just ask you a little bit of questions. I think you'll be able to answer me this. So if you're in
Okay.
a jungle, if you're
Yes,
in a
ma'am.
jungle, which animal do you think is the biggest animal?
The biggest animal, I will go for elephant, ma'am.
Correct.
Yes,
Which of
ma'am.
the animals is the tallest one?
Tallest, I will go for giraffe.
Correct. Absolutely right. And then which is the wisest one? सबसे ज्यादा समझदार या clever जैसे हम बोलते हैं, as clever as a dash. There's the simile
Okay.
that we do.
I'll take ma'am dog, according to me.
Okay, but dog
Yes,
wouldn't be there in the jungle, and most of the times we say as loyal or as faithful as a dog. So I'll take fox. I
yes, ma'am.
think you'll agree with
Fox,
that.
yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
And which is the fastest animal?
The fastest cheetah
Okay, cheetah or tiger.
or
So,
tiger.
yes, Anita has given us a lot of answers here. The biggest one is the elephant, the tallest one is the giraffe, the wisest one is the fox, and the fastest one is the tiger. But
Yes, ma'am.
again, let me ask Anita only. Anita, which of these animals is the king of the jungle?
The lion.
Okay,
Amongst these, we can take the elephant, but
okay.
according to that particular thing,
Yes,
we can take
yes,
the lion. Yes, ma'am.
absolutely right. Now listen to this very carefully, everyone out there. Neither is the lion the biggest animal, neither is it the tallest animal, nor is it the wisest, and neither is it the fastest. But despite that, it is the lion that is the king of the jungle. Neither do we have elephant as the king of the jungle, neither the tiger nor the fox. Now, if you guys can tell me, अगर उसमें ये सब चीजें है ही नहीं है, then what is it in the lion's personality that makes it the king of the jungle? So let's have some answers in the chat box from you people. Why is the lion the king of the jungle? Why? What are the qualities that it possesses as the king of the jungle? Okay, someone says killing instinct. Ajit is the one. Okay, Pushpa, you're absolutely right. Horse is fast, but then horse doesn't live in the wild. This thing, and yes, Anita is right. Cheetah is still the fastest, even when compared to a horse. So Shubham says attitude. Very good. It's strong. It has got good hunting capabilities. Yes, it is alert. Any other answers? Courage, absolutely right. Good sensing ability, correct. Pushpa, that's your answer. Okay, so since I've received a lot of answers from you, I think let's go up with these qualities. So obviously, the lion is very courageous. It's very bold. It's very daring. It's never afraid. And as you said, it's got that killer instinct. Yes, I have to do it. Whatever it wants to achieve in life, it'll do that. And then it's very passionate. It has this, magnanimity, or what you can say, a lot of charisma to its personality. It is a good decision maker. It knows how to carry forward the jungle and its entire community together. And then if there's a fire or an enemy, all the animals will move back except for the lion. It'll continue to be there. It'll try to protect its family, the other community members, and that means it is always ready to face challenges, and it's a very big risk taker. So I think all these qualities are the ones that we are able to get across through the lion, and that's exactly the kind of qualities, as Shubham, I think he gave us a crux of all these qualities in one word: the attitude. The attitude that you have in life is what is going to make you very comfortable with all the challenges and all the adversities that you may face in life, and that's exactly the first thing that you require when you enter the professional world. So I think, having said that, attitude kahan se aayega? Where will you get that attitude from? If you are skilled enough, okay, you are a master of several trades. See, as teachers, as students, we've often heard jack of all trades, master of none. Okay, so this is a traditional aphorism, a traditional adage. But let me tell you, this adage no longer holds true in the present day contemporary world. आज की डेट में अगर आप सिर्फ एक स्किल लेकर जाते हैं, निकलते हैं, there's so much of competition out there, you will not stand a chance. So you actually have to have a lot of skills, but then have the right kind of skills. Okay, आपने सिर्फ skills इसलिए ले लिए कि हाँ बाकी लोग भी कर रहे हैं तो मैं भी कर लूं. But make sure आपका जो profession है, most of you will become teacher educators or educational rock stars. Make sure your skills are in tandem with the kind of profession that you're going to take up in the future. Now, as an example, let me again come up with this very small, a very what you can call a micro example. So again, I would want one volunteer from here. So Monica, are you there? Okay, I think she can probably not hear me. Manisha, if you're there and if you could unmute yourself. Ritu,
Yes, ma'am.
who's that? Is that Ritu?
Yes, ma'am, Ritu.
Okay, so Ritu, my question to you is, just take it as a hypothetical example. Guys, don't treat it in a manner कि मैम ने इतना un-eco-friendly example दिया है, but this is just meant to be a hypothetical situation. So take it that way. So yes, please tell me, if I give you a hammer in your hand, हथौड़ा जिसको बोलते हैं, अगर मैं आपके हाथ में एक हथौड़ा दे दूं और आपसे बोलूं कि बेटा जाओ, ये ट्री है, इसे आपको काटना है. Okay, so how many days or how many months or how many hours would you require to cut down that tree using a hammer? Just a hypothetical situation. It's not something जिसका एक fixed answer होगा. आपको क्या लगता है आपको कितना टाइम लगेगा एक हैमर एक हथौड़े से ट्री को काटने के लिए?
Ma'am, probably 15 to 20 days.
Okay, 15 to 20 days, right. अगर यही मैं आपके हाथ में एक एक्स दे दूं, कुल्हाड़ी दे दूं, then how many days would you require?
Ma'am, a day.
Okay. So, can you just tell me what kind of an analogy am I trying to draw here? आपको क्या लगता है मैं क्या करना चाह रही हूँ ये एग्जांपल देके? What am
Ma'am,
I trying?
basically, I think that you trying to tell us that where the right tool is very important to use at the right place.
Absolutely right. And the analogy that I'm trying to do is जैसे इस केस में you need the right kind of tool, ऐसे ही life में professional world में you need the right kind of skills. Correct. So if you're not, number one, be multi-skilled, but at the same time, make sure that your skills are in line, in coherence with the kind of job that you're required to take up in the professional world. So very brilliantly brought up, Ritu. Very good. So my point here is that just make sure you're multi-skilled, make sure you're the master of all trades, and that is what is going to make you the king of the jungle, the lion, or the CEO of the professional world and your life as well. So this is a very, very simple mantra. Keep this in mind. And with this, let's go ahead and start with our PowerPoint presentation. Let's see what do we have in store for you today. Okay, Ritu, if you could tell me, is the screen visible?
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Okay, absolutely right. So this is exactly the point that we're trying to make here. The crux or the theme of today's session is getting ready for the professional world. And I think there couldn't have been a better topic for today's session because this is really, really pertinent and very, very relevant for each one of you who's out there in the meeting today. So, as I mentioned, be the lion, be the CEO of your own life. And for this, you need to constantly upskill yourself, upgrade yourself, and upscale yourself. And if you remember, in the very first session, I had mentioned it's very, very important to be a learner for life. Once a teacher, always a teacher, and always a student and learner for life. So never forget this thing because the minute you stop learning, the minute you cease to become a good teacher. So for being a good teacher in life, for being even if you're not taking up teaching as a profession, any profession you enter, you are required to constantly upskill, upgrade, and upscale yourself. So professional world is also like a jungle. It's also like a forest, and you need to be the king of the jungle if you really, really want to succeed. Now, why do I say this? ऐसा नहीं है कि हमारे टाइम में हमें मल्टी स्किल्ड होने की जरूरत नहीं थी, but the things were not that dynamic at that point of time, and the reason for that was that the kind of world that we are surviving today in is what we call the VUCA world. V U C A VUCA world. Now, you'd be wondering as to what VUCA means. So, VUCA basically means a world that is V for volatile, U for uncertain, C for complex, and A for ambiguous. मतलब चीजें इतनी डायनेमिकली रोज चेंज हो रही है. आई एम श्योर आफ्टर एनईपी 2020 ये चीजें और भी ज्यादा डायनेमिक होगी. एवरी डे वी आर कमिंग अप विद न्यू पॉलिसीज, न्यू चेंजेस, एवरीथिंग. सो चीजें बहुत अनसर्टन है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, आई थिंक द कोविड पीरियड इटसेल्फ हैज मेड एवरीथिंग सो अनसर्टन. We don't know when we'll go for an offline mode, online mode, or even a hybrid model, or maybe we'll have to start with what are called flipped classrooms. There'll be more in existence than previously. So many things are changing around us. So since we are in a VUCA world, it's really, really important that we continuously upgrade and upscale ourselves. That's one reason why we need to do that. So how do we do it? For this, we need to take a leap, and leap means we have to be very, very liberal. We need to be open to new ideas. ये नहीं कि हमने एक चीज सीखी है and हम उसी ढर्रे पे चलते रहेंगे. We are not going to change ourselves. A lot of people, they're very conservative or orthodox in life. They don't want to change for any changes around themselves. But if you don't do that, you are going to be lagging behind than your competitors or your contemporaries or your colleagues in office or in school or an institution. Then you have to be exuberant. Now, as I have been taking these sessions, I think this is the third session today. A lot of us are here with who are very exuberant. They are so full of energy. They are so full of passion and optimism to learn. I can see them coming up with answers, putting down their ideas in the chat box. That's the kind of exuberance that is required. Don't worry, galti ho jayegi, hone do. I mean, learn from your mistakes. As a matter of fact, I am sure you all must have heard of Roosevelt. He says कि सिर्फ अपनी गलतियों से मत सीखो, दूसरों की गलतियों से भी सीखो, बिकॉज हमारी लाइफ इतनी छोटी है कि इतनी गलतियां हम करेंगे ही नहीं. तो सिर्फ अपनी गलतियों से नहीं लर्न करना, दूसरों की भी गलतियों से लर्न करना है. But that's very, very important. And how do you do it? It's only possible if you're energetic, if you're exuberant, and if you're willing to learn something. Agility means बहुत तेजी से, with a lot of quickness and a lot of speed. You should have that capability to bring about those changes. मैं change करना चाहती हूँ, लेकिन मैं कर नहीं पा रही हूँ because probably I'm very slow in my thinking process, in my processing process also. So I need to be very, very agile. And yes, at the end of the day, it's all about partnership. Now partnership आपके केस में किस किस के बीच होगी? आपकी, आपके colleagues की, आपकी, आपके स्टूडेंट्स के साथ पार्टनरशिप, आपकी, आपके स्कूल अथॉरिटीज या कॉलेज अथॉरिटीज के साथ पार्टनरशिप. So you have to forge some really, really strong connections. So while we're all professionals, but then there has to be some kind of a personal connection also. While in the interview skills thing, I said you have to be thoroughly professional, but once you're into that culture, then you have to forge connections. And that's how things proceed in the VUCA world, and you can really, really be successful. So let's take up a very small activity here before we move ahead to discuss the skills that you require, the traits that you require to get hired in the professional world and then be successful also. So this is a kind of personality test that we're going to be conducting. So I think this will also give you a brief idea as to what is the kind of personality that you have. So let's see, what do we have here? Okay. So what you have to do is just take a paper and a pen with you. If you don't have one, I'm sure most of you must be carrying one right now. But even if you don't have a paper and pen, just have it with you right now. This will just take us around 3 to 4 minutes. So what you have to do is, for example, we have question number 1 here. When do you feel best? आपको सबसे अच्छा कब लगता है? किस time में लगता है? Early morning, in the morning time, during the afternoon and early evening, or late at night? सब किस समय आप सबसे ज्यादा अच्छा फील करते हैं? Just take down the option number. You don't have to write all the answers. Just take down the option number, whether it is A or B or C. But just put down this option number because later on you'll have to do the scoring of this test as well. So the first question is this. Let's see the second one. We have, you usually walk. आप चलते कैसे हो? Fairly fast with long steps, fairly fast with short quick steps, less fast head up looking at the world in the face, less fast head down, or very slowly. So I'm sure you'll be able to make out what exactly is being asked here. Then go ahead at question number 3, which says, when talking to people, how do you stand, or what is the kind of posture you have? So you have 5 options here. Choose one option. Anita, you need to take down these options in your notebook or pen, because at the end of it, you will have to total it up. Okay. So Abhi, I'm not asking for any answers in the chat box. We will take the total scores only in the chat box. Okay. So if you have finished the first 3 questions, just type MA, move ahead, and I will move on to the next set of questions. Move ahead. अगर आपके questions हो गए हैं, just write MA in the chat box. I'll get to know that you finished with these 3 questions. Write down your option numbers in your copies. Okay, Shubham says MA. So which means he's finished. Let's see if the others in the group have also done. So I need at least 5 to 6 people saying MA so that I can move ahead with the next slide. Okay. Okay, great. Garima, Monica, Shubham, Rahul, Ritu, Ankita. Very good. So I think let's go to the next slide then, and let's take down some more answers from you. Now, when relaxing, आप कैसे बैठते हो जब आप relax करते हो? The next one is when something really amuses you, then how do you react? अगर आपको कोई चीज बहुत अच्छी लगती है, मजेदार लगती है, then how do you react? जोर से हंसते हो लेकिन जोर से नहीं हंसते, मन में हंस लेते हो अंदर बन बन में, या फिर एक स्माइल, एक sheepish स्माइल आ जाती है आपके फेस पे. एंड देन व्हेन यू गो टू अ पार्टी और अ सोशल गैदरिंग, तो आपकी एंट्री कैसे होती है? किस तरह की, मतलब सिंघम टाइप एंट्री होती है या आप चुपचाप से एंटर कर जाते हो? एंड देन द 7th one, you're working very hard and you're interrupted. एंड ये मेरे साथ तो बहुत होता है कि अगर मैं काम कर रही हूँ और बीच में कोई इंटरप्ट करता है, सो नॉर्मली मैं, I'll be very frank with you on this, I feel extremely irritated. So I don't like it when people disturb me. Even if they do have a query, they can just wait for a minute or two. मैं अपना काम खत्म कर लूँ 2-3 मिनट में, एटलीस्ट जिस पॉइंट पे हूँ, let me wrap it up and then I'll listen to you. So for me the option would be B. Let's see what options do you people write down. Okay, so again, if you finish off with these set of questions, let's move on to the next slide, but please type MA once again. If you finish this, let's type MA in the chat box, which means move ahead. Okay, Shubham, that was really quick. Okay, Ritu, let's wait for the others to join in. Okay, Kanika says MA. Correct, Benita also says MA. So I think it's time that we can move ahead with the next set of questions in this next slide as well. So which of these colors do you like the most? इसमें से आपका favorite color कौन सा है? And in those last few moments when you go to sleep, आप सोते कैसे हो, मतलब आप लेटते कैसे हो बेड पे? And the next question, question number 10 is, you often dream that you are. ज़्यादातर dream क्या आता है? So if you ask me, मेरा option रहेगा कि I still get a lot of dreams where I'm either flying or floating. So that's option D for me. मेरे पास usually इस तरह का सपना आता है. So let's see what are your choices here. Okay, Deepa says MA, which means she's finished her marking her choices. Shubham says MA. Let's see some more MAs in the chat box, and then we can move ahead and start scoring.
Ma'am, could you show 6th and 7th question?
Okay, I'll do that. 6th is when you go to a party or a social gathering. What kind of an entry do you have? And 7th is when you're working very hard and you're interrupted, do you? Okay, till the time the others are actually giving answers to these questions, I would like to even ask a few students, because I'm getting those constant repetitive names. Benita ka naam aata hai, Anita ka aata hai, Shubham ka aata hai, Deepa ka aata hai. But then there are a lot of students who are there in this particular meeting. So guys, let's see you getting more energetic. I'm sure everyone wants to be the lion in their life and in their professional world. So let's see some more energy in the group today. So let me see some more new names today. I'm getting to see most of the similar names every time. Okay. So I think we have Abhay, Aditya, Ajit. Then we have Karishma Negi, Kavita Pandey, Khushbu. I think there are a lot of people who are not responding. So guys, let's see some more responses from your end as well.
11th question, ma'am.
Okay. There's no 11th question. We have questions till number 10. Now after this, you have to do the scoring. Okay. So
Can you show the 10th question again?
10th is right here. You often dream that you are. Okay, so I think a lot of people are saying move ahead. So let me go on to the scoring part now. So this is how you will use this table to calculate your points. So looking at the options, if question number 3 had 3 options, A, B and C. आपने जो भी option choose किए, give yourself that many number of marks. That will be your score for that question. So just take down your scores and then add up. जब आप पूरे 10 के 10 questions की scoring करो and then add up and let's see what is your total score. So once you get your total score, it is required to be mentioned in the chat box. Let's have your answers in the chat box as to what your score is. So I'll be waiting for your answers and then I will tell you how to interpret your result. And this time I also need answers from Neha, Neetu, Nisha, Medha, and then Prachi Singh, Pratibha, Sunita, Sushmita. Today Sushmita is also not answering. Shivani, Sapna, Ruby. There are so many students. I need you all to put your answers. Manish, you need to see the 10th question again. Is that what you want?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I'll just go back for a minute. 10th question is this. Quickly take down your, choice, preferred choice from here. And let me go back to the scoring part again. So this is how it is. So yes, I'm getting in scores 41, 44, some more scores. And I would request the other students also to participate and give me their scores in the chat box. Okay, Rahul has also come up. I'm happy to see your answer, Rahul. Good to see you. You send me your answer in the chat box. See, normally these are the kinds of personality tests that a lot of, companies in the international arena or, companies which are your Western countries, they are taking up these kinds of tests because interview ho ya or koi cheez ho ya written test ho, you can manipulate your answers. But here you will not manipulate because you don't know what is going to be the score of any question here. So I'm not saying in India you'll get to see a lot of these kind of tests, but then I mean, sooner or later, I think we will also start with a lot of tests like these. But these kind of tests are very, very pertinent and very common in the corporate world. But I think soon we'll have these in the field of academics as well. So a lot of answers popping in, and there's a huge range of answers that I'm getting right from the 30s to the 50s and so on. So if you're ready, I'm now going to share what your score suggests. So you can just typically understand what is the kind of personality you have, so that you know ki, haan, these are my strengths in my personality and these are the weaknesses or what we call areas of improvement, and you can start working on them right away. So over 60 points. I don't think anyone has got over 60, but if you do, so what are you as a person? Others see you as somebody they should handle with care. You're seen as vain. So it's a good thing कि आपका 60 से ऊपर स्कोर नहीं आया, because लोग usually आपको ऐसा समझते हैं कि ये show off करती है या tantrums बहुत करता है, नखरे बहुत हैं, but ज्यादा किसी काम का नहीं है ये बंदा. So others may admire you, wishing that they could be more like you, but they don't trust you and they don't want to be very deeply involved with you. They don't trust you at all. So this is for people over 60 points. Then we have 51 to 60 points. दूसरे लोग जो है वो आपको एक्साइटिंग समझते हैं, बट आपको इम्पल्सिव भी समझते हैं कि आपका रिएक्शन कभी भी कैसा भी हो सकता है. बट देन यू आर अ नेचुरल लीडर, यू आर क्विक एट मेकिंग डिसीजंस, इवन दो एट टाइम्स योर डिसीजंस may go wrong. They see you as someone who's bold and adventuresome, someone who likes to take chances in life. So they enjoy being in your company. उनको अच्छा लगता है आपके साथ. Then 41 to 50, they see you as someone who is fresh, lively, charming, assuming, someone who's always interesting. जिसको हम कहते हैं ना, जैसे पार्टी की जान है या इसी तरह से जो कंपनी की जान है, and someone who's very well balanced and everyone wants to be with you. They like your company, they enjoy your company, you're kind, you're considerate, you're understanding, और आप लोगों की मदद भी करना जानते हो और आप करना पसंद करते हो. Then we have 31 to 40. So these kind of people, they see you sensible, cautious, careful and practical. उन्हें लगता है कि आप गिफ्टेड हो, आपके पास बहुत टैलेंट है, बहुत क्वालिटीज हैं, आप बहुत जल्दी फ्रेंड्स भी नहीं बनाते हो, बट जिनके साथ फ्रेंडशिप करते हो, यू आर वेरी जेन्युइन एंड यू आर वेरी लॉयल विद देम, एंड यू ऑल्सो एक्सपेक्ट लॉयल्टी इन रिटर्न. आप खुद बहुत अच्छे दोस्त हो, लॉयल हो, और आप एक्सपेक्ट करते हो आपके फ्रेंड्स भी ऐसे हो. And then moving on to 21 to 30 points. Now ऐसे में आपके जो फ्रेंड्स हैं या आपके जो colleagues हैं, वो आपको ये देखेंगे कि आप बहुत नखरे वाले हो. Again, coming to this, you are extremely careful, लेकिन आप सोचते बहुत हो कोई भी डिसीजन लेने से. You're not very impulsive. You think a lot. आपका रिएक्शन बहुत तेजी से नहीं आता है, आप सोच समझ के रिएक्ट या रिस्पॉन्ड करते हो सिचुएशन से, एंड यू आर वेरी वेरी केयरफुल इन नेचर. एंड देन फॉर दोज हु आर अंडर 21 पॉइंट्स, यूजुअली लोग आपको बहुत शाय समझते हैं, इनडिसाइसिव समझते हैं. आप सोचते भी बहुत हो, लेकिन फिर भी यू आर नॉट एबल टू रीच द डिसीजन वेरी दिस थिंग, कि आप यू नॉट श्योर ऑफ योर डिसीजंस इन लाइफ. एंड यू डोंट कम अक्रॉस एज अ वॉरियर, बट यू कम अक्रॉस एज अ वरियर. आप चिंता बहुत लगाते हो, एंड कुछ लोगों को शायद आप बोरिंग भी लगते हो. सो ओनली दोज हु नो यू वेल नो दैट यू आरंट. लेकिन जो आपके बहुत करीब हैं, द वंस हु आर वेरी क्लोज टू यू, सिर्फ उन्हें पता है आप बोरिंग नहीं हो. यू आर एक्चुअली अ फन लविंग पर्सन एंड यू रियली एंजॉय इट. सो having said this, okay, I'm also getting a little bit of answers. Anju says yes ma'am, it's true. Pushpa also says yes, it's true. So it is good to see, and I think this is going to be a very much of a self reflection or an introspection exercise for each one of you. You can just start working on this. This is a kind of psychometric or psychological test, and they are quite reliable, and they are validated across by a lot of experts. So this is just an example here. I'm not saying कि you should get disheartened अगर आपकी quality में कुछ आपकी personality में कुछ negative आया है, because none of us is perfect. Okay, हम सब में कुछ कुछ flaws हैं. It's just that it's our primary responsibility to work on those flaws so that we can become a better and a brighter person in life, right? So having done this, let's move on to our next title, and that is the personality traits that will get you hired. अब ऐसी कौन सी qualities हैं that if you have them, you are bound to get hired? Let me tell you once again, getting hired for a job is not something simple, because jobs ही बहुत कम हैं, and things are, as I mentioned, because of the pandemic and उससे पहले जो recession, all these things add on. So as I mentioned, it's very important कि आप skilled बहुत हो, because the minute you're very much skilled, agar aap kam experience bhi ho, people will hire you, they'd like to hire you because you are young, you have a lot of skills, and definitely you are into the things of the present day. So keeping that in mind, I'm not saying ki jo experienced log hai they don't deserve jobs, because it's entirely the choice of the company or the institution. If they value experience more than hope for the future, they'll go for an experienced candidate. But if they want more energy, more skills, then probably they'll go in for young people. And at times you will even get to see a lot of institutes have a balance of these two. They'll have experienced people also, and they'll have young people also. So the first thing is, when you're applying for a job, professional success, industrial experience are only part of what your interviewers want to see. तो ये वहाँ पर handle मतलब ज़्यादा important रहता है. And as I said, once you enter into the professional world, then it's your personality traits that become very, very important and relevant. So if two people, they have similar capabilities, normally जिसके soft skills अच्छे होंगे, better होंगे, that will be the person who will get hired. So Manish, since I've got the last answer from you, Manish, can you just repeat for everyone what are soft skills? We did this in the first session also, but if you could just explain in English, Hindi, whichever language you're comfortable in, just explain it to your colleagues as to what are soft skills. क्या क्या आता है soft skills में? Manish. Okay, Manish, are you there? Okay, Anju. Hello, Anju.
Yes, students, please unmute yourselves.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that Anju?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Anju, could you explain to everybody in the group as to what soft skills are?
Ma'am, in soft skills like how to interact the people in very effectful way, and
Okay.
through soft skill normally कि कैसे हम एक दूसरे अपने अपने आप को प्रेजेंट करते हैं दूसरे पर्सन के सामने और
Okay. Okay.
yes ma'am.
उसके अलावा if some people could put their answers in the chat box, किस तरह के skills soft skills में आते हैं? If let's have some examples from you people. I had discussed a few examples. So this is going to be a kind of revisionary exercise for all of you. Okay, critical thinking, very good. Critical thinking, which means things which cannot be put on paper, लेकिन आपके पास हैं. Okay, your reaction, your decision making, core skills. Okay, शुभम, core skills में ही और चीजें भी आती हैं, तो वो क्या हैं? Communication skills, yes. Integrity is more of a value, but yes, you can take it. Teamwork or team leadership, team membership, interpersonal, intrapersonal, yes. Teamwork again. Leadership, flexibility, very good. Then analytical thinking, logical reasoning, time management, conflict resolution, because आप तो स्कूल में जाएंगे, बच्चों के बीच में कॉन्फ्लिक्ट होगा, टीचर्स के बीच में कॉन्फ्लिक्ट हो सकता है, टीचर स्टूडेंट में कॉन्फ्लिक्ट हो सकता है, so you have to be very good at conflict resolution, collaboration, promptness, very good answers, keep it up. So yes, these are the kind of skills that you need to possess, and you very clearly know as a personality कि आपके अंदर कौन से traits अच्छे हैं and कौन से वो traits हैं जिन पे you need to start working right away. So just take that. Yes, adaptation, Monica, adaptation, because things are changing very dynamically. So according to Rosemary Hafner, who is a human resource officer at Career Builder, it's important to highlight soft skills that can give an employer an idea of how quickly you can adapt and solve problems, whether you can be relied on to follow through, and how effectively you can lead and motivate others. And ये जो चीजें हैं, ये सबसे पहले आपके रिज्यूमे में आती हैं. अब ये बहुत थोड़ा सा डाइसी सिचुएशन होता है, बिकॉज सॉफ्ट स्किल्स, एज आई सेड, पेपर पे डालना इज नॉट इजी. दीज आर नॉट समथिंग, दिस इज नॉट समथिंग विच इज टैंजिबल. Lekin, you have to learn how to put this in your resume. Now, this is an altogether different topic as to how do you write an effective resume. So I'm not going to go too much into details for this. But yes, right from the resume stage to the interview stage to actually entering the professional world, the soft skills is one thing which is a constant win-win factor for each one of you. So start working on them. Then, what are the skills and traits that you require? So, soft skills ka, there are these few things that you need to keep in mind. I've already got a lot of answers from you people, but still I'm going ahead. And again, as I mentioned, this is not an exhaustive list. This is just a suggestive list. These are just a few examples of soft skills that you need to possess. So communication skills, I think someone said presentation skills. Anita probably said that. Workplace etiquettes, professional English. As I said that day also, although communication is not just about conversing in English, but then English is a global language. It's a language which is used across all institutes, across all communities and companies. So you have to be good at English, and that too a professional one. I mean, you will not go to school, you will not enter the staff room and say, "What's up, guys," to your colleagues. So that's not the kind of professional English. So while it is okay in college, it is not okay in a school or in a corporate culture or in a professional, organization. Maintain positive body language. We've already talked about it. You have to be good at negotiation skills, conflict resolution skills. You have to be very good at stress management, time management, and yes, your social media profiling, which includes your Facebook, your LinkedIn, your Instagram, because Instagram is very, very popular. Now, see, you may be creating reels, or you may be you may be putting up some pictures in your on your social media accounts, but then once you enter the professional world, you have to be very, very cautious as to what is the kind of how you're using this platform. Okay, so number one, it is often said that you don't make friends with your students on Facebook or on LinkedIn or on any other social media platform for that matter. But even if you do, make sure that you're not a kid anymore. You're a professional, and you need to project yourself as a professional throughout. So social media profiling is again something which is very, very important, and this has just crept into the list of soft skills. पहले जब social media इतना pertinent और इतना important नहीं था, this was never nowhere around as a part of soft skills, but this is now very much an indispensable part of your soft skills. Then let's move on to a few more examples here. You need to be a multitasker. So a multitasker, as the name suggests, आपको बहुत सारी चीजें करनी आनी चाहिए हैं. As I told you in the last session also, if I have been asked to become the organizing secretary of a national judo championship, I am an academic person, but yet I am required to do this, I can never say no. And if I do say no, I mean, I have the right to say no, but that doesn't go down very well with the organization. So be ready for anything and everything when you're entering your professional world. So an organization will always need people who do not tolerate chaos, but even out of chaos they will be able to find a solution and then thrive on it. So this is something very important. I think one of the best examples that I can think of from Bollywood, again, since I'm a huge Bollywood buff, I think Farhan Akhtar is a person who's a multitasker. And why do I say so? Can anyone tell me what all things does Farhan Akhtar do as far as movie making is concerned or film making is concerned? What all kinds
Ma'am,
of roles does he play? Yes.
ma'am, he writes.
Yes.
He
First of all,
also
I'd like to
sings.
have your name. Sorry, but I'd like to have
Ma'am,
your name first.
I'm Varsha. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, Varsha. Yes, please tell me.
So Farhan Akhtar writes. He writes the lyrics of the songs also sometimes,
Yes.
or the script, and he also sings, like in
Yes.
Rock On movie, and he also acts.
Okay. And he's also into filmmaking. He's even produced a lot of films. Right. So, yes, your answer is absolutely correct. And I think it gives you a fairly good idea as to how you can be a jack of all trades. Okay. So that's really, really important. Otherwise, what is the need for Farhan Akhtar to enter into so many fields? I mean, and he's doing well in all of them. So that's just an example as to how you can be a multitasker. So, yes, do that. Let's see what is the next one. So, the next thing is that you need to be a strategist. You should be able to develop strategy whenever, especially you are in an adverse situation. ऐसा नहीं है, स्ट्रैटेजी आपको अच्छी सिचुएशन भी चाहिए. जैसे मुझे अगर ये बोला जाता है एज द इको क्लब हेड कि you have to conduct so many activities pertaining to the environment during the year, so I need to devise a strategy कि every month or every fortnight what are the kind of activities that I'll indulge the students in. And besides that, it's very small, there are so many small things. अच्छा, बच्चे हैं, कैसे उनसे कौन से बच्चों की ड्यूटी इस चीज पे लगानी है कि वो प्लैकार्ड्स बनाएंगे, color kya hoga, do they have to wear green t-shirts that day? So there are so many small little things as to how you can make it a big event, and then that's the kind of strategies that you would be required. So these may be very small things to something very big, like as I mentioned, the national judo championship, jahan par hame logo ko, we have to make sure unke staying ka सेटअप करना है, और वो उन्होंने स्कूल में ही रहना था, तो हमें स्कूल में ही उनके लिए बेडिंग्स और बेड्स और सब चीजें अरेंज करनी थी. सो उनका ट्रैवल अरेंज करना था. सो छोटी से छोटी चीज से लेके बड़ी से बड़ी चीज तक, you'd be required to be a strategist, someone who can identify long term goals, demonstrate that आपका vision है future के लिए, and that vision is in alignment with the vision of the school or the college or the company that you are working for. And you have to have a good elaborate plan that you need to get there. Okay, now just to understand what the word strategy or strategist means, how many of you watched this movie called Bhuj, The Pride of India? It's a movie I think which released last year. How many of you watched it? Let's see if we can get some answers in the chat box. Yes, if you know, please write it, type a yes here. Bhuj, a movie which starred Ajay Devgan. Okay, Shubham says yes. Let's see if we have more answers. Okay, Manish says yes. Anita says no. Okay, Anita, I would recommend that you watch this movie. It's a good movie and it's a different kind of a movie for a change. So, Shubham, since you've mentioned yes, if you could share with the other people, how does Ajay Devgan in the character of squadron leader Vijay Karnik come across as a great strategist if you've watched the movie?
Like the airfield was destroyed
Yes.
as they have invaded the airfield and the bombarding was done. So how he collected all the villagers and they all come together with a plan, and in the overnight everyone come
Yes.
together as a acted as a team and build
Yes.
the airfield despite of again there wasn't bombing and all.
Yes. Yes.
There were live bombs also, and they worked as a team. They all come
Yes.
together with a plan, and finally they succeeded. So
Absolutely right. Yeah, thank you so much, Shivam, for sharing this. Shubham for sharing this. So yes, it is about a place called Bhuj. So there was an air base there, and it was bombed by the Pakistan Air Force in 1971, where when we were having this Indo-Pak war, and it was then that squadron leader Vijay Karnik, who the character being played by Ajay Devgan, he came up with a strategy through which he gathered 300 women. So primarily it was the women who were taking the lead, though we did have a lot of males also, but the women took lead. There were 300 Bhuj women who gathered. They worked under his strategy and plan, and finally they built this you know a strip, that runway that was destroyed within 24 hours, so that soldiers could come there. They could take a helicopter or a charter, whatever, but they could come there, they could protect, and they could fight against the enemy. So I think strategy worked a lot there. So that's the kind of strategist that you need to be in life. Then, coming on to the next thing, you have to be a decider. See, the point is, while it is a good thing, see, when I was in school, yes, I'm required to take approvals from the principal for everything that I take up. But then there are a lot of decisions जिसमें I don't need to go to the principal again and again. For example, if I have to monitor my teachers, I will not seek permission because that's part of my job profile. So I don't need to disturb her again and again with small questions or queries which are not required. So I am required to be a decision maker for a lot of small things if I'm working under someone, because they don't want a candidate who is not afraid to pull the trigger. At times you're required to take some decisions even in the absence of higher authorities, but then you have to be a decider or a good decision maker. So you have to use your own judgment. You should have the ability to act and take responsibility also for whatever the response is or whatever the result is. See, at times what happens is आप decision लेते हो, जरूरी नहीं है वो हमेशा सही हो. तो decision लिया आपने, वो ठीक हो सकता है ना भी हो. There are 10% chances that your decision may turn out to be wrong and not in coherence with the vision of the school or the institution. But then don't worry. I mean, just because there something could turn out to be wrong and you don't take a decision, that's not right. But also what is not right is कि आपने decision लिया, आपसे गलती हुई, and you try to transfer that blame onto someone else's shoulder कि मेरी गलती नहीं है, उसकी वजह से ऐसा हुआ है. So that's not something which is right in the professional world. So also when I say कि there should be people you are ready to pull the trigger, वो out of the way जाके कुछ innovative करना चाहते हैं, decision making करना चाहते हैं, ऐसा नहीं है कि केयरफुल लोगों के लिए प्रोफेशनल वर्ल्ड में जगह नहीं है. एज अ मैटर ऑफ फैक्ट, यूजुअली द कंपनीज और द इंस्टीट्यूशंस दे ट्राई टू मेंटेन अ बैलेंस बिटवीन people who are willing to take decisions and people who are very cautious, because that creates a balance. So yes, they do need people to provide stability and fairness and to keep the organization from taking wrong decisions also. So whichever way you are, it's just that if you're a cautious person, don't come across as a person कि हाँ मैं तो लाइफ में बहुत अच्छे फटाफट डिसीजंस ले लेता हूँ. अगर आप कॉशियस हो, मेंशन दैट यस आई थिंक अबाउट थिंग्स, आई ponder over various issues, and then with the help of school authorities, I come across to various decisions. So that's how you will proceed with this. Then make sure that you are a cultural fit. Okay, आप जिस culture में हो, आप उसके हिसाब से fit होते हो या नहीं होते हो. So I think I mentioned this in the interview skills also, कि जब आप किसी company में या किसी institution में interview के लिए जाते हो, read the job description, read the vision and mission statement of that particular institute, because you need to mention those in your interview in order to get selected, right? So again, as I mentioned, website आप study कर सकते हो. I'm just taking an example here. I just visited the DPS Dwarka Expressway website yesterday itself. So वहाँ उन्होंने कुछ चीजें जो मेरे एकदम से आई को स्ट्राइक की, वो कुछ ऐसी थी. They work on the principle of explore, exercise and achieve. They focus on experiential learning, group exploration. They are more into child-centric study. They recognize student talent. They experiment with innovative methods for holistic well-being of their students. And the core values that they work on are integrity, perseverance, and humility, along with discipline. Now, when I go through this website, I need to understand कि हाँ मेरे अंदर ये सारी qualities हैं ना. Then only it's going to be a successful venture for me. If they desire me to have innovative skills, जिसमें मैं नए नए तरीके ढूंढ के बच्चों को पढ़ाने की कोशिश करूं, और अगर मेरे अंदर वो क्वालिटी नहीं है, आई स्टिल गो बाय दैट ट्रेडिशनल स्कूल आइडियोलॉजी कि हाँ मैं गई, मैंने लेक्चर दिया एंड देन आई कम बैक होम, आई विल नेवर बी अ सक्सेसफुल कैंडिडेट फॉर दिस काइंड ऑफ अ स्कूल देन. So I need to ensure that I am a cultural fit. So you know right now I think it's a good idea to start going through the websites of various schools and institutions and see which of these schools or institutions are best suited as per your personality. So that's one thing you can do, कि आप अपनी पर्सनालिटी के हिसाब से स्कूल्स की सिलेक्शन करें और शॉर्टलिस्टिंग करें. दूसरा ऑप्शन है कि अगर आप अपनी चॉइस के स्कूल में जाना चाहते हैं, देन स्टार्ट बिल्डिंग ऑन योर पर्सनालिटी according to their vision, mission, and the kind of values or culture that they believe in. So either ways, you need to start working right away. Then let's talk about the next trait that will help you get hired, and that is you have to be a team player. See, at any point of time, since human beings, they say, are social animals, okay, so personal life mein obviously you have to be very social, but the same holds true for professional world also. आप अकेले नहीं सर्वाइव कर सकते. यू विल बी रिक्वायर्ड टू वर्क इन पेयर्स और वर्क इन टीम, विच मीन्स आपको और कलीग्स के साथ काम करना पड़ेगा, एंड फॉर दैट यू नीड टू बी वेरी वेरी फ्लेक्सिबल. Also, जब आप एज अ टीम काम करते हैं and you achieve something, it's not about I did this, it's about we did this together. So you have to make sure that you are a good team player. And this brings me to another example again from Bollywood, and I think Rocket Singh, salesman of the year, is one very good example which brings out the concept of team player. How many of you have watched this movie, Rocket Singh? I think it starred Ranbir Kapoor. So how many of you watched this movie? Let me see some yes in the chat box if you watched it. Okay, Shubham, as always, the first one to answer. Yes. Anyone else? Anita, Ankita, Anju, Ritu, Manish, Ajit. Yes. Okay, Ritu says no. So again, my suggestion is do watch this movie. It's a very good movie and you'll get to learn so many life skills and so many lessons for life. So if you've not watched that movie, just make sure you do it. Okay, so Shubham, that leaves me with a Hobson's choice because only you have probably watched this movie. If you could share what this movie is about, और कैसे उसमें एक team playing या team work की एक चीज आती है सामने. How does it come?
Ma'am, like as he has joined in the start, so he was humiliated and all those things.
Yes.
And like he came up with that customer is the main thing, and we need to
Correct.
satisfy the customer, and the sale depends upon the customer. So he come
How
up with
did team
idea.
playing? Yeah, team playing कैसे आती है इसमें?
I don't remember that
Okay,
much.
okay,
It's been a long time.
fine. It's absolutely fine. होता है. So, see what he did there was, as Shubham mentioned, he enters into this,
Ma'am,
sales.
with your permission, ma'am, can I help out?
Yes, who's that? If you could tell us your name, please.
It's Ajit Pratap Singh, ma'am. Ma'am,
Okay, Ajit, tell us.
Ma'am, at the loop of time, Ranveer Singh find out that he can make profit by involving the other employees of the same company, and he
Yes.
started a secret company by offering them the mutual share of the company.
Right.
And at the end of the movie, there are
Hello.
victoriously,
Yes.
and he will be offered by the owner that
Hmm.
they can hand over the company and they can have some money, but he refused because he think that he is not the only person who.
Yes.
So this is the major part of the movie.
Correct.
Thank you.
ओके, थैंक यू सो मच अजीत. सो अगर पूरी मूवी में और भी चीजें हैं जैसे अजीत ने टिल दी एंड मूवी बताई, बट आई विल कम प्राइमरीली टू द पोर्शन ऑन टीम प्लेइंग जिसके बारे में अजीत मेंशन्ड हियर. सो व्हाट हैपेंस इज दैट दिस फेलो ही जॉइंस अ सेल्स फर्म जहां ही इज सपोज्ड टू सेल ऑफ computers and parts and stuff like that, and he's humiliated, and finally he comes to the conclusion that I need to start my own firm. And when he does that, what he does is that he employs a team of people with him. So team जब वो select करता है तो ऐसी टीम लेता है जिसमें एक या दो इंसान टेक्निकली बहुत साउंड होते हैं. So there is Gauhar Khan, who is very sound with people, and she is a people's person. She becomes the PRO kind of a thing. And all these people, चाहे वो technical reasons से employed हों या वो इस वजह से employed हो because they are very good with human resource, but the point is वो सभी team members को साथ लेके चलता है. As a matter of fact, he employs all these people as partners, so they become the partners within his firm. So it's very important. So this is a very good example of team playing and how you could be a very good team leader, and also a very good example with regard to decision making strategy. So I think almost all the points that we've covered till now can get very well reflected in this movie. So I think it's a go ahead, just watch this movie. It's a good movie. I'm not saying, I mean, a lot of people are not fond of watching movies, people are not very fond of watching Bollywood movies in particular, but then there are some good Bollywood movies, and you must watch these movies to learn various lessons for life. They are good. Okay, let's move on to our next thing. So finally, I think all the skills that are required would ultimately come under these three C's. You have to learn collaboration, you have to learn cooperation, and you have to learn communication for sure. So there's no way you can do without these three C's in your life. Also make sure that you're always willing to face pressure. मैंने उस दिन भी ये बात बोली थी कि एक time था when we used to feel that teaching is meant for those people who are not able to do anything in life. That's not right. These days I think teaching is one profession which is leading to all other professions. I think it's receiving its due credit over a period of time. Things are not the same. You're required to work a lot. You have to be a dynamic leader. So I think the dynamics of teaching as a profession are changing by the day, and so is its value, and so is its respect. So there's a lot of pressure, there'll be a lot of deadlines. You may as well be required to stay overtime. Okay, there's an art exhibition which is normally an annual feature for almost all schools. You would be wanted to ask your students to stay back. Some good students would be required. You'll be required to have a team of students. You'd be required to set up the entire thing for the art exhibition. You are allotted a space and you're required to set it up. So time से पहले आपको सारे अपने ready रखने हैं जो भी art exhibits हैं. Then you have to shortlist them. Then you have to see how they are presented well. You have to have a placard showing कि this is class 6A or 7A or something like that. और ये सब आपको एक ही दिन में, इनफैक्ट स्कूल टाइमिंग्स भी नहीं दिए जाते for doing this. You'd be required to stay back after school, and then you'd be required with your team of students to set it up. So this is just a small example. और आपको maybe 4 या 5 बज जाएंगे स्कूल में, and you'd be wanted as a teacher to come up with a very brilliant idea with regard to your stall or something. So this is just a single example that I'm giving you, but इस तरह की छोटी से छोटी चीजों से लेके बड़ी से बड़ी चीजों के लिए there will be a pressure, a lot of pressure that you'll be facing. So make sure that you are keeping yourself prepared कि आपको आगे चल के long hours करने पड़ सकते हैं, आपको आगे चल के वीकेंड पे वर्क करना पड़ सकता है. So वो टाइम नहीं है that I wrap up. I still remember, as I mentioned, I couldn't stay back in school beyond 2:40 or 3 o'clock. So yes, I used to take my work home, and I used to work at home. I used to work from home, और आजकल तो work from home वैसे ही बहुत चल रहा है. So you have to maintain a balance also between your work life and your real life. So be disciplined, eat healthy, stay happy, be mentally prepared to handle all this. Okay. Then the next one is learn to work smart. While it is a good idea to be a hard worker, to be a diligent one, but yes, Smart workers tend to go way ahead than hard workers these days. So you have to become street smart. The value of any service that you provide, I mean, teaching is a kind of service that you're providing. So the value of any service provided is not determined by how much energy has been expended, but its value is determined by how useful it is. आपने काम किया, वो काम end of the day कितना useful है, कितना purposeful है, is what counts. आपने काम किया लेकिन उस काम की कोई डायरेक्शन नहीं है, आप लगे रहे मेहनत करने के लिए, लेकिन अगर उस काम की कोई डायरेक्शन नहीं है, इट इज नॉट वर्किंग टुवर्ड्स द गोल, then it's all waste. As a matter of fact, I remember my father, he once, cracked a joke here, and what he did was, I'll give it to you in Hindi. So there were three people, तीन लोग होते हैं, और उनको कुछ काम असाइन किया जाता है. सो व्हाट हैपेंस इज, एक बार एक आदमी सड़क पे जाता है और वो दो लोगों को काम करते हुए देखता है सड़क पर. तो एक आदमी जो है वो गड्ढा खोदता रहता है, और दूसरा आदमी जो है वो उसी गड्ढे में मिट्टी डालता रहता है. सो दिस फेलो ही इज वेरी सरप्राइज कि ये लोग क्या कर रहे हैं, एक इंसान गड्ढा खोदे जा रहा है और दूसरा इंसान उसी गड्ढे में मिट्टी डाले जा रहा है. सो इसका क्या फायदा है? सो व्हाट हैपेंड हियर वाज, नाउ दीस टू पीपल आर वर्किंग वेरी हार्ड नो, लेकिन जब वो पास जाके उनसे पूछता है कि आप ये क्या कर रहे हो, तो वो कहता है कि हमारा काम ये था, एक्चुअली हम तीन लोग थे जिन्हें काम करना था. मेरा काम था खड्डे खोदना, जो सेकंड वाला आदमी था उसका काम था उसमें पौधे लगाना उस खड्डे में, और जो तीसरा आदमी है उसका काम ये है कि उसे गड्ढे भरना है. अब प्रॉब्लम ये होगी कि जो सेकंड आदमी है वो आज लीव पे है, तो हम अपना अपना काम कर रहे हैं और हम बड़ी मेहनत से काम कर रहे हैं. बट डू यू थिंक दिस काइंड ऑफ अ वर्क इज एक्चुअली गोइंग टू हेल्प? Okay, so this is what is an implication as regard to smart work is concerned. You have to be smart when you're working. सिर्फ ये नहीं कि कोलू की बैल की तरह हम काम करे जा रहे हैं और उसका कोई अंत ही नहीं है, कोई पर्पस ही नहीं है. So another question that I have, another example that I'd like to give you here is, again, it's a very short story. So there are these two woodcutters, ठीक है, और दोनों woodcutters के बीच में एक रेस लगवाई जाती है कि देखते हैं कौन सबसे ज्यादा ट्रीज काटता है. Okay, again, not a very eco-friendly example, but then just take it as an example. So दोनों के बीच में एक कंपटीशन लगाया जाता है कि एक घंटे के अंदर आप लोग कितनी ट्रीज काटते हो, हम ये देखेंगे. ओके, तो एक वुड कटर है जो कि ट्रीज काटना शुरू हो जाता है, एंड बहुत मेहनत लगाता है वो ट्रीज काटने में, और उसकी नंबर ऑफ ट्रीज जो कटती है वो भी अच्छा एक नंबर होता है. इतनी देर में उसको खबर लगती है कि जो दूसरा वाला वुड कटर था उसने 10 मिनट के लिए ट्रीज काटी, और उसके बाद अब वो ब्रेक पे है. वो बड़ा खुश होता है कि यार ये बंदा ब्रेक ले रहा है, इसका मतलब मैं उन 10 मिनट्स की ब्रेक का जो उसका टाइम है उसमें मैं तो और ट्रीज काटूंगा, मैं तो जीत जाऊंगा. उसके बाद इसी तरह से वो हर 10-15 मिनट के बाद एक छोटी सी ब्रेक लेता है, चाहे 2 मिनट की, 5 मिनट की, बट वो ब्रेक ले लेकर काम करता है. जबकि दिस फेलो, ही इज कंटिन्यूअसली वर्किंग हार्ड, एंड वो इस उम्मीद में है कि मैं तो पक्का जीतने ही वाला हूँ. आफ्टर 1 hour what is done is, दोनों ने कितनी ट्रीज काटी वो काउंट की जाती हैं, एंड सरप्राइजिंगली मच टू द शॉक ऑफ वुडकटर 1, वुडकटर 2 जिसने ब्रेक्स ली हैं वो ज्यादा ट्रीज काट पाता है. जब वुडकटर 1 वुडकटर 2 के पास जाता है पूछने के लिए कि ऐसा कैसे हो गया, मैं तो कंटिन्यूअसली 1 घंटे तक ट्रीज काट रहा था, तुम तो बीच में ब्रेक्स भी ले रहे थे, तो तुमने कैसे ज्यादा ट्रीज काट ली? तो कहता है वो जो मैंने ब्रेक ली थी उस ब्रेक में मैं अपनी एक्स को शार्पन कर रहा था. विच मीन्स सिर्फ स्किल्ड होना काफी नहीं है, सिर्फ हार्ड वर्किंग होना काफी नहीं है. टाइम टू टाइम आपको अपने स्किल्स को शार्पन करना पड़ेगा, यानी यू विल हैव टू अपस्किल एंड अपग्रेड योरसेल्फ, एंड आल्सो यू विल हैव टू वर्क स्मार्ट so that you are in a win-win situation, जैसे कि woodcutter 2 आया. So it's not just about working hard all the time. So working smart is, as you can see in the picture here, it's the ticket to success. The next thing is you have to be respectful. Treat every person like he is the CEO of a company. फिर वो चाहे स्कूल में एक काम करने वाली हेल्प हो, ठीक है, जैसे कि we have these cooks in the pantry, or we have people who get us a glass of water. फिर चाहे वो स्टूडेंट हो, चाहे वो हमारे कलीग्स हो, एंड ऑब्वियसली चाहे वो हमारे स्कूल के प्रिंसिपल और chairperson हो. So either ways, you have to be respectful. And how do you do that? As you can see here, there's an acronym which says R means you have to remain calm. एक तो जब हम सुनते हैं ना, तो हमारे सुनने की प्रॉब्लम ये कि हम सुनते हैं इसलिए कि हमें अगले बंदे को जवाब देना है, हम इसलिए नहीं सुनते कि उसकी बात को समझना है, and accordingly we have to take a decision. So stop reacting and start responding to situations. E, you have to encourage others. ये मैंने बहुत देखा, and you will also come across this. बहुत सारे इंस्टीट्यूट्स में there is a lot of politics also going on. You'd be surprised to know, but politics हर जगह, whether you're in the corporate world or whether you're in the field of education. The point here is, अपने आप को ऊंचा दिखाने के लिए let's not pull down the other people. Let's be encouraging, because ultimately, as I mentioned, it's all about collaboration. It's not about competition. If you do have to compete, compete with your own self, not with people around you. अपना काम ऊंचा रखो. Let your actions and let your work speak for you. You don't have to speak anything. आपको बोलने की भी जरूरत नहीं है. मैनेजमेंट इज स्मार्ट इनफ टू अंडरस्टैंड कौन सा इंसान काम कर रहा है और कौन सा काम नहीं कर रहा है. So just do your best as far as your work is concerned. Stay positive. Be polite to everyone. Embrace differences. We all, अगर हमें as teachers, I think psychology में सबसे पहले ये सिखाया जाता है that we need to appreciate individual differences. कोई भी स्टूडेंट, एक स्टूडेंट दूसरे स्टूडेंट से मिलता जुलता नहीं होगा. They will all have differences and we have to cater to those. But then this is not just to do with students. आपके colleagues, आपके ऑफिस में जितने भी लोग और भी हैं, they will be different from each other. So learn to take all those differences by your stride and handle people the way they are. Okay, so just change yourself and your personality as per different people and who are present around you. C means you have to consider the consequences. अगर आप कोई decision ले रहे हो, उसके consequences समझो, और ये भी जानो कि अगर आप किसी से बदतमीजी से पेश आते हो तो does it reflect good on you? No. So just make sure that whatever you're doing, whichever way you're reacting or responding, just make sure you consider कि इसके consequences क्या होंगे, and just be respectful to everyone and think twice before you speak. I think Kabir ji, Rahim ji, there are so many dohas that we have done on this. मीठी बानी बोलिए, मन का आपा खोए, और इनको शीतल करे, आपुरु शीतल होए. So I think for those who are doing Hindi here, who are specializing in Hindi, they would know about it, and I think the others also must have done this somewhere in class 9 or 10. So just be respectful to everyone around you. Take criticism positively. Now see, what happens is, हम लोगों की प्रॉब्लम ये है कि हमें लगता है हम परफेक्ट है. वी डोंट वांट टू टेक क्रिटिसिज्म एट ऑल. जबकि अगेन आई गो बैक टू कबीर जी और रहीम जी, जो कि बोलते थे निंदक नेड़े राखिए, व्हिच मींस यू मस्ट कीप योर क्रिटिक्स क्लोज टू यू. एज अ मैटर ऑफ फैक्ट वो कहते हैं एक उनकी कुटिया बना दो अपने ही घर के पास, अपने ही कोर्टयार्ड में, सो दैट दे आर कॉन्स्टेंटली देयर विद यू. They will constantly criticize you and make you a better and brighter person in life. Now see, what I'm trying to say is not all criticism is good, but then not all criticism is bad also. Okay, आपको ये करना है कि जो criticism आपके पास आ रहा है उसमें से take the positive aspects, work on your personality and your work based on that constructive feedback or positive feedback that you receive. And then time to time लोग आपकी बुराई करें, जैसे हम बोलते हैं ना, कुछ तो लोग कहेंगे, लोगों का काम है कहना. जो ये वाला सेक्शन है ऑफ क्रिटिसिज्म, just forget about it and from time to time give yourself a pat on the back कि yes मैंने ये काम अच्छा किया. आपको और कोई appreciate ना भी करे, no worries, just give yourself a pat on your back and say yes I did this well. So taking criticism, I think, like a champ, it requires a lot of practice and experience, and I think this is the right time, since you're already into a professional field, because when you're doing your B.Ed or you're taking up any educational course like this, you have already ventured into the state of professionalism. So just start practicing on this, just start experiencing this. Your teachers, your lecturers also might be giving you constructive feedback from time to time. So just take it very seriously, but never take criticism personally. ये मत सोचो कि इसने मेरे पे अटैक किया है. Take it this way that yes, this is going to help me to become a better person. Now another example here, I think बहुत सारे लोगों ने शायद Facebook पे भी ये example देखा होगा. You have an example where a teacher, she writes the table of 9, a multiplication table of 9, and she writes 9 ones are 9, 9 twos are 18, 9 threes are 27, and finally she writes 9 into 10 89. Okay, I'm sure everyone knows it's not 9 into 10 89, it's 9 into 10 90. So what happens is, ऐसी क्लास में जहाँ टीचर ये लिखती हैं तो बच्चे उन पे हंसना शुरू हो जाते हैं. And a lot of students point out कि ma'am, you made a mistake here, 9 into 10 is not 89, and they keep laughing all the time. Now it is then that the teacher says कि मैंने 9 आंसर्स ठीक लिखे जिन्हें आपने अप्रिशिएट नहीं किया, बट जो 10th मुझसे गलती हुई वो इमीडिएटली लोग आ गए और क्रिटिसाइज करने लगे. एंड दैट्स एग्जैक्टली द वे पीपल आर इन रियल लाइफ. आप बहुत सारे अच्छी चीजें करोगे, मे बी पीपल विल फॉरगेट. ओके, सो उस समय आपको क्या करना है, आप अपने आप को खुद अप्रिशिएट करें. यस आई डिड अ गुड जॉब. लोग अप्रिशिएटिव भी होते हैं, आई एम नॉट सेइंग एवरीवन इज क्रिटिकल ऑफ योर अचीवमेंट्स, बट देन इवन इफ नो वन अप्रिशिएट्स, अप्रिशिएट योरसेल्फ. ओके, लेकिन अगर आपको कोई कंस्ट्रक्टिव फीडबैक देता है, स्टार्ट वर्किंग ऑन इट राइट अवे, एंड इट्स योर चॉइस. आई मीन यू हैव टू टेक दैट डिसीजन. कौन सी क्रिटिसिज्म पॉजिटिव है, किस पे मुझे काम करना है और कौन सी क्रिटिसिज्म ऐसी है जिसे मुझे इग्नोर करना है, एंड आई नीड टू जस्ट मूव अहेड. So take criticism positively, that's very very important, and learn to say no. Now this is a very very dicey kind of a situation, क्योंकि हम जब प्रोफेशनल वर्ल्ड में होते हैं, आपने काफी सारे लोगों के बारे में सुना होगा who are of the opinion yes boss, yes boss, yes boss. लेकिन see, sometimes work can be really overwhelming. Now as an academic head, मुझे बहुत बार ऐसा होता था जहाँ पे चेयरपर्सन से भी काम आ जाता था, प्रिंसिपल मैम से भी काम आ जाता था, and then at times I used to feel like a sandwich between the two of them. But then you have to be what you can say, you have to be courageous enough to be able to say no, or at least prioritize things. You can say ki, no, right now it's not feasible because I'm swamped with work, so I might as well take it up after 2 hours, 3 hours, or maybe the next working day. अब ये करने के लिए, how do you do that? I mean, how can you make sure that you say a no but you don't sound very aggressive, and you have to be firm and direct. You have to keep it simple but polite. So there are a lot of sentences that you could use. If you want to take them down, you can just take them down. So the first way of telling this is, I am honored that you've considered me a good person to take up this job, but I will not be able to do it, or I can't. Okay, that's the first way. So आपने ये भी बोला कि मुझे अच्छा लगा, आपने मुझे काम के लायक समझा, बट मैं अभी नहीं कर पाऊंगी या अभी नहीं कर पाऊंगा. That's one way. Another way is, I wish there were two of me. अगर आपके कलीग बोल रहे हैं तो थोड़ा इनफॉर्मली आप बोल सकते हो, काश मेरे जैसे दो होते और मैं आपका ये काम कर सकता या कर सकती. So I wish there were two of me. Then you could say, sorry, I'm booked into something else right now. I can probably take this up later. Then I could even say, sadly or unfortunately, I'm busy with something else right now. Or you could even say, no, thank you. So no, thank you, but I don't think I'll be able to do it right now, even though I find it, a state of honor that you've, suggested my name for this, or you think I'm capable of doing this kind of a job. But then I wouldn't be able to take it up. I'm swamped with work. There's too much on my platter. And so maybe next time. So these are a few ways in which you can respectfully and firmly say no to the other person without him or her feeling bad about it. Okay. So learn to say no when you're in the professional world. I think this we've already taken up when we were doing interview skills. So it's not just the interview when you have to look, all groomed up and look good, professional, but you have to continue this throughout your professional life. You just cannot, read school and look shabby with an uncut beard, or maybe wearing very flashy clothes. So these are not, and you have to maintain the code of conduct as prescribed by the school. If the school has already prescribed that you have to come in ethnic wear, you will not wear western wear and go to school. And similarly, there are certain schools who allow only western wear and sari for girls. So that way you have to make sure that you're shuffling between these two categories of dress. So it can't go anything beyond that. So look good, be well groomed, make sure you're clean, you're maintaining hygiene, you're looking presentable, and that you're well turned at all times. The next type is, take stereotyping by your stride. Now, this is something very, very important, especially for people out there in this session today. See, what will happen is, आप जब यहाँ से किसी भी इंस्टीट्यूट में जॉब के लिए जाएंगे, there will be these whole lot of people who've been working in that particular institute for like 10 years, 17 years, 20 years. And उन लोगों की usually सोच क्या होती है, there's a stereotypical approach that they have. A lot of them will think you are an irresponsible kid. आप तो बच्चे हो, अभी आपके अंदर वो सेंस ऑफ रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी नहीं होगी, आप तो सिर्फ यहाँ मजे करने के लिए आए हो. ये बच्चे, इन बच्चों को तो कुछ आता ही नहीं है, ये तो सिर्फ सोशल मीडिया से एडिक्टेड रहते हैं, दे आर सेल्फ ऑब्सेस्ड, दे आर केयरलेस, यू कांट एक्सपेक्ट एनीथिंग आउट ऑफ देम. सो इस तरह से काफी सारे जजमेंटल लोग आपको मिलेंगे वहां पे. द बेस्ट थिंग नॉट टू डू इज, आप उनके साथ बहस नहीं करेंगे. यू आर नॉट गोइंग टू एंटर इनटू एनी काइंड ऑफ आर्ग्यूमेंट विद देम. यू आर नॉट गोइंग टू कंप्लेन. इस चीज को लेके इट इज नॉट अ गुड आइडिया टू डिसाइड कि अच्छा चलो मैं ना इस बारे में प्रिंसिपल मैम या चेयरमैन सर को कंप्लेंट करके आती हूँ. डोंट आर्ग्यू. आप अपना चुपचाप काम करिए. लेट योर वर्क स्पीक फॉर यू, बिकॉज एक्शन स्पीक लाउडर देन वर्ड्स. एंड ये मेरे साथ खुद हुआ है एज अ पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस. आई लाइक टू शेयर विद यू. My first job that I took up was in the age of 29 years, because I got married early, I had a kid, and so it took me time. And by the time I entered into the professional world, I was just 29 years of age. I took up a job as PGT economics. But the management was able to see that I'm really a hard worker with a lot of innovative ideas that I had put into my class, and it worked really well. मैं एक दिन खुद ही उठ के चली गई कि मैम हमारे स्कूल में ये इम्प्रूवमेंट्स मुझे लगता है होने की जरूरत है, even though I was not called for a meeting. So keeping all these things in mind, I think the management decided that I be promoted to the post of an academic head. The point here is ये promotion मुझे within 6 months of my work दे दी गई थी, and this too even though it was my first job. So there were these lot of teachers who had been working मेरे से बहुत senior थे, and I still respect a lot of them. लेकिन हुआ ये कि whenever I would probably send a circular across and I would require a teacher to come down and discuss an important issue with me, those teachers would actually call me up from the staff room and they would say कि बंदन मैम यही बता दो, हम नीचे नहीं आ सकते, because they felt it was against उनकी ईगो बहुत हर्ट होती थी कि एक 29-year-old लड़की हमें बुला रही है कि हम आकर एक डिस्कशन करें, आप फोन पे बता दो, हम तो नीचे नहीं आ रहे. So initially I also used to feel bad because शायद उन्हें लगता था I am not the kind of person who's deserving. I'm incapable because I'm way too young, so I'm incapable of handling this job and I don't deserve it. But then I did not react on this. What I did was I continued with my work. Initially इस तरह के tantrums भी आते थे मेरे पास. I used to handle them. Okay, fine. This lady called me up कि मैम आप यही बता दो, मैं नीचे नहीं आ सकती. So I told her everything on my through the phone call, that telephonic conversation. But धीरे धीरे with time, when people see your work, they start appreciating you. And now it's those very teachers. अब मैं उस स्कूल में काम नहीं करती हूँ. But now it is those very teachers who will call me up on my birthdays, who will call me up on my marriage anniversary and tell me कि मैम आप चले गए, उसके बाद आप जैसा इंसान नहीं आया. And believe you me, those teachers were senior. 18 साल भी काम किया था उन्होंने, and they are way ahead. मेरे से बहुत बड़ी हैं वो एज में. So this is how things work. So take stereotyping by your side. People will think that you're incapable, but you don't need to tell them that no, I'm capable. You just need to prove it through your work. So work hard, also work smart, as I mentioned. Okay, keep looking for challenges. एक बहुत अच्छा किसी ने ये चीज बोली है that if your job isn't challenging enough, it's high time that you leave your job. So if you are finding that आप एक regular routine में चल रहे हो and there are no challenges, which means you're not learning. The day you stop facing challenges, that is the day when you stop learning. And the day you stop learning, that is the day, that is the end of your career. Okay, so even if you're working there, you're going 9 to 5 or 9 to 3 or whatever, or 7 to 3, but then उसका कोई फायदा नहीं है because you're not learning. And then as a personality, as a professional, that is the end of your career. Okay, now I think there are two movies that come to my memory right now with regard to challenges and how challenges can transform you as a personality. One movie is Hitchki, the one which had Rani Mukherjee acting in it, and the other one is Chalang, which had Rajkumar Rao in that movie. So I think let me ask in the group, how many of you watched Hitchki, the movie Hitchki? And that's I mean, I'm sharing these examples because ये आपकी educational line की ही movies हैं. So you also might experience these kind of challenges. So Anita says Hitchki. So Anita, that means एक movie है जो आपने देखी हुई है. It is good. Okay, Anita, since आपने mention किया, let me ask you, what was this movie about? And what did you learn about challenges in that movie?
Mom, actually, on that movie, Rani Mukherjee was having some kind of problem while she speaks. So she was trying more and more to make that flow continuous. तो मैम उस टाइप का कुछ इशू था on that particular movie.
Okay, so number one is that internal challenge that you are talking about. Internally, she had a medical condition. I won't say it is a problem, but it was a medical condition, and उसकी वजह से उनको बोलने में दिक्कत आती थी. So that was an internal challenge, right? Challenge which she tried to make sure कि उसके साथ ही even though her father was a bit embarrassed with this kind of a challenge that she faced, but she never lost her confidence, she never lost hope, and she never lost her optimism and positivity. So yes, that's right. लेकिन स्कूल में what was the kind of challenge she faced? Ritu, if you're there and if you could share, what was the kind of challenge that she faced in school that she got employed in?
Ma'am, ma'am, like in school, she because of her this internal problem, a lot of student used to make fun of her as a teacher. Even the colleagues who were there, they were also used to make fun of all this, and they were used to say that you're not capable of this job. And
Correct. बट डू यू थिंक ऑफ एनी अदर चैलेंज जो उनको फेस किया उन्होंने? ये जो आप मुझे दोनों ने बताया है, दिस इज टू डू विद द मेंटल,
Ma'am, can I say?
हु इज दैट, इफ यू कुड शेयर योर नेम?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, Pushpa. Ma'am,
Yes.
The problem was when it happens that there was a division of sections, and in that in one section there were students who were from very elite classes, and
Correct.
In another section there were students who come from slum areas, and
Right.
as they speak about the students from slum areas speak about the problem, they said that, ma'am, I have to work so much. Means they were not interested to study because they have so many
Correct.
works to do other than their studies. So
And I think
they
that
said
was a
this
notorious,
problem.
yeah, they were a notorious lot, क्योंकि उनके अंदर एक नेगेटिविटी आ चुकी थी सोसाइटी के लिए, इसलिए वो एज यू मेंशन वो पढ़ना नहीं चाहते थे, और इसीलिए दे मेड इट अ पॉइंट कि कोई भी टीचर जो है वो ज्यादा दिनों तक वहां टिके नहीं. And obviously that was a notorious class and a very challenging class at that for her as a teacher. But how did this challenge help Rani Mukherjee in the long run?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am,
Yes.
Ma'am, Rani Mukherjee started going to their house, to the students of their house, and there she started teaching them, and she said to students, make your group and try to learn from different things. So while doing these type of works, they started learning and got interested in studying.
Yes, absolutely right. Now the thing is, what Rani Mukherjee did here was उसका खुद का अपना एक internal challenge था, उसको भी face किया. She worked on that, and she also, you know, worked on the challenge of handling some notorious kids who were just not willing to study. And over a period of time, I think इस जर्नी की जहाँ ये शुरुआत हुई कि challenges face किए उन्होंने इतने सारे, but she went with the flow. She made sure that her students learned. She overcame that challenge. Despite her medical condition continuing, क्योंकि वो खत्म नहीं हुई, उसके बावजूद she went ahead and became the principal of that very school, जहाँ पर उसको टीचर्स ने और स्टूडेंट्स ने रब ऑफ कर दिया था ये कहकर that you are not meant for teaching. With your medical condition आप पढ़ा नहीं सकते. लेकिन ना सिर्फ उन्होंने पढ़ाया, she actually went ahead and became the principal of the school. Now this is not a far-fetched conclusion, ये actually हो सकता है real life में. The only thing is you have to keep looking for challenges, accept those challenges and work towards overcoming those challenges. और ये नहीं है कि रानी मुखर्जी ने उस समय वो 9th F वाला challenge face किया होगा. अगर इस तरह की कोई भी टीचर होंगे, वो challenges आपको face करते रहने पड़ेंगे. It's not that once you overcome a challenge and you're done with it. There'll be so many challenges you will keep coming across. So never go off challenges. Let yourself not go off track. Keep looking for challenges. नहीं आ रहे ना challenges तो खुद ढूंढो. खुद प्रॉब्लम्स देखो कहाँ प्रॉब्लम्स हैं, look into your problems and create innovative ideas and responses to the same. So yes, that is one example. Another example is Chalang. Is there anyone in the class who's watched Chalang, the movie Chalang?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Shubham, is that you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, if you could share कि Chalang movie में क्या challenge था, कैसे उसे overcome किया गया, and how is it a good lesson for all of us here?
So, ma'am, Rajkumar Rao, he was a kabaddi player. Sorry, sports teacher in the school.
Yeah.
And
initially he was not a very professional
yes,
this thing. वो सिर्फ he was
yes,
doing his job to earn money.
yes, ma'am. So
Yes.
and he fell in love with a girl, the main lead actress, and when there was like a competition organized hona tha, and for that they hired someone else, a more skilled person. Then
Yes.
he felt कि जो लड़की थी, then he was also कि उसकी तरफ अट्रैक्ट हो रही थी, एंड ही कि जो सारे लोग थे, they were appreciating him, and then he realized कि now he has to act up and all those things. So how पहले वो he wasn't that much serious in his job. Then he overcome those challenges.
Yes.
कि I have to learn those things. I have to be professional. I have to accept the challenges that are coming in my way. So he worked hard and all those, and he overcome those challenges. And in the end, like there was a kabaddi fight between the new teacher and his teacher, दोनों के team के players के साथ, students के साथ, and eventually the Rajkumar Rao's team wins. So कुछ ऐसा.
Correct. So primarily challenge ये था कि एक तो उसको अपनी personality खुद ही सुधारनी थी. He had to become serious in life. एक challenge ये था. दूसरा challenge ये था the kind of students that he had with him, जिनको उसको train करना था. वो सभी students maths Olympiad में तो बहुत अच्छे थे, पढ़ाई में भी अच्छे थे, लेकिन they were just not sports people. तो उन लोगों को स्पोर्ट्स की तरफ ट्रेन करना and to make them emerge as winners was really a big challenge for him. So primarily this movie is all about how to handle this challenge and उस challenge को कैसे उन्होंने overcome किया, what were the various strategies. Now he was a very good strategist. जैसे एक बच्चा था, he was not very good at running, but what he realized was अगर उसके पीछे कुत्ते छोड़ दिए गए, then that was the person who used to move ahead the highest, because he was scared of dogs. तो उसी डर के कारण वो बहुत तेज भागता है. So, he looked for opportunities in different kinds of challenges and he tried to make the most of them. So, this is a very good example of how you also need to look for challenges, face them, and move ahead. Then, be an independent thinker. The best example that comes again here is, I think, Amir Khan's role in Tare Zameen Par. And this time, I want someone else to give me the answer. I'm sure almost everyone, must have watched this movie. How does Amir Khan come across as an independent thinker or as a teacher who had his own viewpoint? Anyone in the group? I think there is some Jyoti, not Jyoti ma'am, but there's a student Jyoti. Manish.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that Manish?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Manish. तारे ज़मीं पर में आमिर खान एक independent thinker कैसे सामने बन के आते हैं?
Ma'am, I have watched this movie long back, but few things that I can recall now is
Yes.
सारे टीचर उसको मतलब जो बच्चा था वो he was not good at
Yeah.
studying and doing
Yeah, the
things
name
right.
the name of the student was Ishan, and Ishan was a student जिसको mostly teachers ने rebuke करके और rub off करके कह दिया था ये इसके बस की नहीं है, ये कुछ नहीं कर सकता life में. So then what happened?
Then Amir Khan was an independent thinker. He bring out some different points in his mind and start appreciating the things in which he was good.
Absolutely. And independent thinker, I think, इसलिए भी थे because he actually goes to the principal's office and tells him, this is what I'm thinking about. He sticks by his decision. As a matter of fact, he even convinces the principal, even though he was a part-time teacher himself, but still he was able to convince the principal that this is what I'm thinking about and I will make the student work. And the principal was not too much, into a favorable response, but still he was pretty much convinced by what he said. And he said, okay, you can take a chance and let's see what you do. So herein, I think Amir Khan comes across as an independent thinker, and that's exactly what you are also required to be. So yes, thank you so much, Manish, for that answer. So there are a few more suggestions that we have for you as professionals. कभी भी अपनी values और morals पे compromise नहीं करना है. Make sure of that. Make sure you have a backbone, you have a spine, and you stand up for your rights. Okay. Then also make ये समझने की जरूरत है, क्योंकि कई बार ऐसा आपको लगेगा कि हाँ आपको अपने वैल्यूज या मॉरल्स पे गिव अप करना पड़ रहा है, बट ऑलवेज रिमेंबर दिस इज नॉट योर लास्ट स्टॉप. अगर आपको किसी जगह पे कंफर्टेबल नहीं लग रहा है, यू कैन ऑलवेज लीव दैट ऑप्शन. पहले तो कोशिश यही करनी है बिकॉज इट्स अ चैलेंज, यू मस्ट ट्राई टू फेस इट. बट अगर आपको लगता है कि एट द एंड ऑफ द डे दिस इज एन अनरीजनेबल चैलेंज, you should not be facing this situation, you are right, so you can take a call because ultimately this is not the last stop. You can always look for better options where you don't have to forego your values. Keep learning, behave professionally at all levels and each minute. Develop a good network. Do not be submissive. हर बार आपको सिर्फ गिवन नहीं करने की जरूरत है. If you think you're right, stand up for your cause. Respect boundaries. Okay, so while my principal was very friendly with me, that doesn't mean that मैं उनके साथ अपने घर की personal details share करने लग जाऊंगी. So respect those boundaries, be friendly, but mind it's a good thing आप सबके साथ hi hello रखते हैं, you are friends with some teachers, you may not be that friendly with others, but then okay, it's fine to have a hi hello with everyone, but also remember not everyone is your good friend. So just सबके साथ अपने सारे plans, अपनी सारी secrets, अपनी professional personal life सबके साथ आपको share नहीं करनी है. So you may have a friend or two who you think are genuine friends, but don't trust everybody blindly. Learn the tricks of time management because that's very important. काम बहुत रहेगा, time आपको कम लगेगा, but then you have to make sure you make the most of your time. Do not take leave too frequently. This looks and sounds very unprofessional. If you're taking leaves very often, ये सिर्फ नहीं है कि हाँ सैलरी कटेगी मुझे क्या फर्क पड़ रहा है, आई एम नॉट वर्किंग फॉर सैलरी, बट दैट्स नॉट द काइंड ऑफ एटीट्यूड you should have. Taking leaves very frequently is not doing justice to your students, it's not doing justice to your career. So it's a genuine reason, okay, it's fine, there could be an emergency, you're not able to inform once in a while, that's also fine, but don't take leaves too frequently, because there's a job, there's a commitment that you've made and you need to stick to it. And as I mentioned, your social media profiling is very important. You have to make sure that you use it very professionally, very responsibly. So then how do you highlight your personality? So yes, strategic storytelling. Again, this is a topic which there's a lot of detail into storytelling, how you can use it as a teacher. So I'm not going into a lot of details because that's again a topic which requires a lot of in-depth discussion. But primarily the thing is storytelling as a technique that you use in class is important, because then students connect with you better. So then be authentic, be your true self. Don't try to be someone that you are not. And then follow some business etiquettes and professional etiquettes. Yes, this is something we're going to be taking up right now. So I want you people to tell me what you see in the first picture. Let's see if someone can give us an answer in the chat box. What is the first picture, indicative of? Can you make out something to do with business etiquettes or professional etiquettes here?
She is on call and
No,
he's
the
trying.
first one. I've written intro. Now, what does this picture stand for? Okay, I'll give this one to you because it's not very easy to understand using a picture here. So what you have to do is, whenever you're in doubt, introduce others. So ऐसा बहुत बार होगा कि आप ऐसे दो लोगों को जानते हो जो एक दूसरे को नहीं जानते हैं, right? So what you have to do is you must make sure that you introduce people to each other if they don't know each other and they are not acquainted with each other. Because अगर आप लोगों का इस तरह से introduction कराते हो, it makes people feel valued. Okay, so इवन इफ देर आर टू पीपल, दोनों को आप जानते हो, दोनों शायद सेम पोजीशन पे और टाइटल पे भी काम नहीं करते हैं, एक बहुत हाई पोजीशन पे, एक प्रॉब्ली उतनी हाई पोजीशन पे नहीं है, but still it's a good idea to introduce people if you are a common link to both of them. So that's number one. The second picture, anyone? Ritu, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what does the second picture, I'm going horizontally, not vertically, horizontally, जिसमें blue background है पीछे, what does this picture indicate?
Ma'am, the second picture indicates about greeting someone.
Okay.
Like if you're doing a handshake, then in what manner and you should do a proper handshake formally. It's
Right. Yeah. So हैंडशेक जो है वो एक फर्म हैंडशेक होना चाहिए, बट इतना भी फर्म नहीं करना है कि अगले बंदे को लगे मेरा हार्ट ही टूट जाएगा, एंड एट द सेम टाइम द इट शुडंट बी अ वेरी फ्रिवलेस वन कि सिर्फ ऐसे हाथ शेक है जिससे आपका ऑथेंटिक साइड नहीं दिखता है. सो बट एट द सेम टाइम जस्ट रिमेंबर दैट हैंडशेक जो है वो अभी भी एक प्रोफेशनल स्टैंडर्ड है, चाहे आप किसी भी फील्ड में हैं. But yes, when it comes to ladies, you have to be very cautious, because if you're a gentleman and you are greeting a lady, unless and until that lady brings her hand forward and she's okay with you or you're shaking hands with her, please do not extend your hand for a handshake without her permission or approval. So professionally, this is a very basic business etiquette that you need to follow. The third picture, I think hum already discussed kar chuke hai. Please and thank you and even sorry at times is okay. If you are saying these are magical words that you should use very often, as and when where it is required. Okay. Then the next one, the fourth picture, I think Shubham, you were talking about this picture. Now you can go ahead and talk.
Ma'am, is it like interrupting?
Yes.
Like when? Yes.
Yes. So don't interrupt people when they're doing something. Wait for your turn. They'll come back to you. They'll tell you एक कुछ हो सकता है important बात कर रहे हैं, important काम कर रहे हैं. So don't be an over talker and don't interrupt people for no reason. Even if there's a reason, wait for your turn to come.
Ma'am, this also tends to maintain a space, like a
Yes,
distance.
absolutely right. That's a new perspective. You have to maintain your professional space. You just cannot get into the other person very close to him or her, because that may be very, very rude. And, it's like invading their personal space. So you don't have to do that. The next picture, anybody?
Ma'am, the girl is rebuking or scolding the boy. So we should
Right.
not do like this.
Okay, so basically, who's that, by the way?
Ma'am, Pushpa.
Okay, yes, Pushpa, जिसे हम बोलते हैं mind your language or watch your language, because you are in a professional space. आप पार्क में खेलते हुए दो बच्चे नहीं हो कि हाँ उसने मेरी टर्न ले ली, या ये मैं आउट नहीं हुई थी, उसने मुझे आउट बोल दिया. So you're not in a playground or you're not at your home. You're not with your sibling कि ठीक है लड़ाई झगड़ा कर रहे हैं और कुछ भी बोल रहे हैं तो फर्क नहीं पड़ता. You're in a professional space and you have to watch your language. Okay, the next one, this one with spell check. Anybody?
Ma'am, like while we are working in a professional way, either we are sending a mail or anything, documentation or working on any documents. So
Correct.
we should always do the spelling check. It should be professional. It should sound in a
Yes,
professional way. And
because
all those.
yes, it's not a WhatsApp message that you are sending to your friend कि जिसमें आप कुछ भी language लिख के भेज रहे हो, spelling का problem नहीं है, आपने लिखना है by the way और आप लिख रहे हो BTW. तो इस तरह से आप लैंग्वेज नहीं यूज करते हैं. इनफैक्ट आई विल टेक दिस इन ग्रेटर डिटेल इन टुमारोज सेशन व्हिच इज ऑन ईमेल कम्युनिकेशन एंड एटिकेट. सो वी विल बी डिस्कसिंग दिस इन ग्रेटर डिटेल. द नेक्स्ट पिक्चर.
Knocking.
Banging
Yes.
on door with loudly.
Right. So yeah. So don't invade anyone's personal space. Just knock the door, or even if there's no door and it's a workstation kind of a thing, make sure that you take permission. अगर कोई higher authority है, seek their appointment and then enter their space. The last picture on this slide.
Gossip.
Yes, I think yes, I think 75 to 80% people in professional area do it, but I think it's the worst thing to do. It's not a good idea to gossip or backbite about people. So it's really bad. Even though we all have that human tendency, but you have to overcome this human tendency also. The next one again. Anyone? First picture.
Ma'am, don't over drink.
Okay.
Or maybe when we
actually this is not about drinking because आपके अगर मैं आपके just a minute, if I go to, I mean if I'm working in a school, usually हमारी parties में ऐसे drinks नहीं होती हैं. So this picture is not actually about drinking. Anything else that you can think of? Anyone?
Ma'am, we should not listen to others' conversation.
Right, absolutely
conversation
right.
of the other employees.
Correct. इसको हम बोलते हैं eavesdropping, which is EAVES, eavesdropping, DROPPING, which means लोगों की private conversations सुनना is not a good idea. As a matter of fact, अगर मेरा system on है and there is this teacher who comes from the staff room, I'm not in my cabin, she has no right whatsoever to look at my desktop, try to see and find out what's there in my mailbox. So these are not good ideas. Or she just stands there listening to the kind of telephonic conversation that I may be having with a parent or maybe having with my principal. That's not a good idea at all. So make sure that you never eavesdrop. The next picture, the second one. Please give me your name and then give me the answer.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, Anita speaking, ma'am.
Yes, Anita.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, it shows a kind of respective behavior towards each other.
Okay. So basically, yes, anyone else?
Monica here.
Yes,
this picture depicts the gratitude towards each other.
I think both the ideas are correct.
May I?
अगर आपको just give me a second to finish this and I will come back to you. So basic idea is कि आप अगर पैसेज में चल रहे हैं स्कूल के कॉलेज के या इवन आपकी कंपनी के एंड रास्ते में आपको सामने से कोई दिखता है just say a hi, a hello or wave. Acknowledge the presence of other people, and yes, another way of taking this picture is that express your gratitude whenever someone does something for you, something that helps you. Okay, I think someone was wanting to say something. Please go ahead.
Ma'am, both of the persons showing greeting in the same way, so it's also suggests that we should greet in a formal way or standard, like be a room in a room, be a Roman in a room.
Right. So basically, be a Roman in a room, or you could mirror the other person's body language, जो कि हमने last class में भी किया था. तो जिस तरह का, मैंने बहुत सारे लोगों को देखा है because I am a सरदारनी, I am a Sikh. So बहुत सारे लोगों को मैंने देखा है कि not in professional world but personal world में भी, they will come even though they may be a Hindu or a Muslim or someone, they would come and say सत श्री अकाल जी. एंड इन रिटर्न अगर वो मुस्लिम है तो मैं भी उनको सलाम बोल दूंगी, या अगर वो हिंदू हैं तो राम राम या नमस्ते बोल दूंगी. So I think it's a very good idea and it brings people closer. So yes, mirroring the other person's gesture or talk is a very good idea of being close to people. The next one, the green placard one. Anyone?
Some topics to avoid.
Absolutely right. The two very critical topics. I see a lot of communication based on these two topics, even on social media, and I think it's a thorough put off. And religion and politics is one thing you need not discuss at all. It's a strict no as far as professional world is concerned. The next one.
Ma'am, be punctual,
Correct.
be on time
And
every time.
yes, who's that, by the way?
Ma'am, Benita here.
Okay, Benita, good one. And I think that's the reason why I would also recommend, we are, I think, left with 2 more sessions to go. And next class, I expect all the students to be on time. I wouldn't want Jyoti ma'am to get disturbed or Shivan to be sending text messages, students join the meeting. So I want everyone to join on time, be there on time. Okay. The next one, and that's because this is the start of your professional world, and you have to learn these habits right now. Okay. The next picture.
Ma'am, avoid using mobile phones while working, ma'am.
Not just avoid, actually, as a matter of fact, no phone usage during meetings in school. As a matter of fact, a lot of schools, because people are not following this as a rule कि हमें class में पढ़ाते पढ़ाते phone नहीं उठाना चाहिए. It's a very bad thing to do. But a lot of people don't understand this. They still don't follow the rules, and that's why a lot of schools and colleges, what they started doing is कि वो phone school में आते ही teachers का phone अपने पास surrender करवाते हैं, and they are given their phones only in the afternoon or evenings when they are about to leave. अगर आपको कुछ भी बात करनी है, स्कूल का लैंडलाइन यूज करें. आपके घर वालों को कोई इमरजेंसी है, वो स्कूल के लैंडलाइन पे फोन करें, because most of the schools or colleges now have this rule that they don't hand over your mobiles. But even if you don't have that rule, please follow this rule on your own. आप ब्रेक टाइम में बात कर सकते हैं, आप अपने फ्री टाइम में जब आप स्टाफ रूम में बैठे हैं आप तब बात कर सकते हैं. बट टीचिंग योर क्लास एंड सडनली पिकिंग अप योर फोन टू टॉक टू समवन is a very, very bad idea. Okay, I will not take the next picture in which this person is giving his card, because वैसे ये company culture से related है कि हर जगह जाके आप अपने काम के बारे में लोगों को बोलते रहे. It's a big turn off. या आप एक ओवर सेल्स करने की टेंडेंसी रखें कि हर बार मैं लोगों को बोलूं और शायद वो मुझसे कुछ चीज खरीद लें. तो इसलिए I'm not taking it, because I'm assuming most of us will be going to a school, so this picture is not too relevant for you. Let's go to the last one. You can see we can improve, we talk. What does this picture suggest?
Ma'am, positive conversations between the colleagues.
Yes, and positive conversations, be authentic.
Motivate each other, ma'am.
I didn't get you. Could you repeat that, please?
Ma'am, and to keep motivating others
Yes.
along.
Yes. So there are a lot of perspectives that you could use as far as this picture is concerned. Be authentic, show genuine interest in other people's conversation. It should not be always about I, me, myself. दूसरे लोग क्या बात करें? What do they want to say? Listen to them carefully. Show genuine interest. बहुत ज्यादा ये मत शो करो कि मैं हमेशा जल्दी में रहती हूँ. Okay, fine. Once in a while it's okay. You may be genuinely in a hurry. But हमेशा ये मत शो करो मैं बहुत busy हूँ, मेरे पास time नहीं है. And take time to ask questions, show interest in whatever people are wanting to tell you. So yes, these are a few manners and etiquettes that you need to follow in the professional world. Now there are a few tips that you as fresh graduates need to know or understand before you enter your professional world. कुछ और चीजें हैं. See, number one is till now, I mean, you've been going to your school and then college. I'm sure आप में से कुछ लोग naughty भी होंगे शायद. एंड सी अभी तक हमें ये पता है कि स्कूल जो है वो हमारे लिए कुछ एकेडमिक या डिसिप्लिनरी एक्शंस ले सकता है. ज्यादा से ज्यादा क्या होगा, 2 दिन के लिए सस्पेंड कर देंगे. तो वी a few of us, I'm not saying all of us, but a few of us may take things very lightly. But professional world में nothing is taken lightly. As a matter of fact, I still remember this one case. I mean, this teacher, she was a very good friend of mine, because मैंने भी पहले as a teacher ही join किया था. She was a good friend of mine. We used to be very comfortable talking to each other. But then one day, suddenly I get to know कि उन्होंने class में कुछ questions take up किए, जो कि उन्हें mainly ये उसका intention नहीं था ऐसा शायद, but she wanted to just give a few important questions to the students. And then when she constructed the paper, वही questions उसमें आ गए, and then she got caught, and then she was finally fired from the school. So आपका एक छोटा सा एक्शन intentionally हो चाहे unintentionally हो, but आपका एक छोटा सा खराब एक्शन जो है that can land you up in trouble. You can even get fired, and getting fired may not be a very good thing, which is something very much welcomed by the next school that you may try to appear for. So be very cautious of your actions and your code of conduct whenever you're there in a professional setup. Also, second thing is you need to focus on team brilliance and performance. Individual importance are achievements are important, but make sure that whatever way you're working, your work is in the same direction as that of your team. You can put up your independent ideas. That's not a bad thing to do. As I said, you need to be independent thinkers. All of them are required to give in their ideas. But once the team decides on something, you must follow suit, you must follow the same pattern and work as a part of the team. आप अपने individual selfish motives को पीछे रखेंगे and you will work with the larger, towards the larger objective of the company or the institute. तीसरी चीज जो मैं बहुत बार बोलती रहती हूँ, see, you people as fresh graduates, post graduates will have a less chance for recruitment. So to beat that experience that your seniors may have, you must be loaded with multiple skills. There are so many on, अभी आप COVID era में नहीं भी जा रहे, there are so many online courses through Udemy, through Coursera that you can take up. Even Upgrad has come up with a lot of courses. Start taking up those courses. I still remember the very first lockdown that we had in 2020. I had finished off with 13 skill-based courses, voice over, storytelling, ये सब courses मैंने उसी time पे किए थे. So never waste your time. Don't sit idle. Try to be as productive as possible. Take up more and more courses. They will add to your CV. Take up more and more internships, more and more trainings. The more you do, the more you add to your CV, and the better chance you stand for a recruitment. Okay, so take this up very, very seriously. Also get, rid of your collegiate habits. Start replacing it with a positive attitude, with a professional attitude. Two things which are a strict no, I think we haven't taken that up, is that number one, don't continuously keep cracking jokes. जब हम students होते हैं ना, जो ज्यादा jolly natured होता है, जो ज्यादा jokes crack करता है, वो कहते हैं ये तो group की जान है, इसके बिना तो group कुछ लगता ही नहीं है. But the same doesn't hold true in the professional world. You have to get serious towards life and towards your work, and don't hang out with the same kind of people all the time. Is there anyone who's specializing in English here? Please let me know. Anyone who's specializing in English as a subject? Please give me a name.
Yes, Sukanya, I hope you are there.
Sukanya, are you there?
And,
okay.
One more student was there, ma'am, yesterday.
No worries.
In last class. Okay.
Okay, no worries. I will go ahead and explain this to you. See, normally आपने ये सबने सुना होगा, birds of a feather flock together. Does anyone know the meaning of this adage or this, phrase? Birds of a feather flock together. Anyone? Okay. Yes, who's that?
Varsha ma'am.
Yes, Varsha. Good to hear you. बहुत आज आपने बहुत देर बाद आंसर दिया. Yes, come on.
Ma'am, I'll just try what I feel. Birds of a flock, feather flock together means people with similar kind of traits and who feel they are very much similar. They are all usually they spend more time with each other.
Absolutely right. क्यों हम ऐसे लोगों के साथ ज़्यादा time spend करते हैं? Because we feel we are comfortable with them, and all of us like to remain in our comfort zone. But professional world में you just cannot remain in your cocoon with a limited number of people who think and act like you. Make sure कि आप diverse किस्म के लोगों से मिलें, उनसे interact करें, उनकी company में रहें, because in the professional world you need to be aware of different kinds of things that are going out in the world, events that are going out in the world, ideas that are coming up or cropping up. The more you stand out with different kinds of people, diverse kind of people, the better you're going to become as a human being, because आप उनसे बहुत सारे ideas, traits, qualities adopt करोगे, and that will make you a more comprehensive, a more complete person. So while मैं ये नहीं कह रही कि अपने जैसे लोगों के साथ friendship मत करो, but don't just do that. Try to meet up different people, try to learn different traits and ideas and qualities from different people. That will really help you a lot. So after having done all this, I think we can now come across the definition of who a professional teacher is. So a professional teacher is one who's able to become a learner and educator, possesses pedagogical ability, which means you're very good with your content and the way you execute it to teach the content, and create a diverse classroom climate that makes the student feel welcomed. Now again, this is a very huge and deep topic about handling class diversity and classroom management. ये भी एक अलग topic है जिसको हम और डिटेल में कर सकते हैं कि लोग हम कैसे इंश्योर करें कि जो इंडिविजुअल डिफरेंसेस हैं हमारी क्लास में उनको हम कैसे केटर कर सकते हैं, कैसे डाइवर्सिटी को हैंडल कर सकते हैं. But these are a few typical traits that are required out of you as a professional teacher, if you really want to be called a professional teacher. And obviously the qualities of a good professional are, as a teacher agar main bolu, you need to be a leader. As you can see in the picture here, you need to be honest, intelligent, creative, confident, driven and courageous. That is an acronym for leader here. Know your stuff. अपने content के साथ you should be thorough. Because आप जितने मर्जी honest हो, आपकी जितनी मर्जी integrity हो, जितना मर्जी आप बच्चों के साथ खुश, मतलब आपके बच्चे आपके साथ खुश रहते हैं, लेकिन अगर आपका content strong नहीं है, your content knowledge is not strong, people will remain, you know, glued to you maybe for a day or two, but उसके बाद they will lose interest. So सबसे पहले मैं जितनी मर्जी बाकी qualities और soft skills की बात कर लूँ, आपकी content knowledge एकदम perfect होनी चाहिए. Stand up for people, stand up for you know, the right thing, be honest, support others and be accountable. अगर आपने कुछ किया है, कोई भी डिसीजन लिया है, अच्छा हुआ या बुरा हुआ, आप आंसरेबल हो एंड मेक श्योर कि आप इसमें ट्रांसपेरेंट हो. हाँ, मुझसे ये हुआ है, बट यू मे बी सॉरी फॉर इट, बट देन जस्ट एक्सेप्ट इट. आई मीन दूसरों के ऊपर डालने से वो आपकी इमेज और आपकी पर्सोना पे सही नहीं जाता है. एंड फाइनली वी डू इट. रोल्स एंड रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज जो आपको करनी है, आपकी कंटेंट नॉलेज अच्छी होनी चाहिए. कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स हम पहले भी कर चुके हैं, वन ऑफ द मोस्ट सॉट आफ्टर स्किल्स. बी अ गुड टीम लीडर, फोकस ऑन योर प्रोफेशनल डेवलपमेंट. दैट्स द रीजन व्हाई यू, आज आपका ये जो सेशंस हो रहे हैं, नॉट जस्ट विद मी, विद द अदर रिसोर्स पर्संस आल्सो, ये एक तरह से आपके स्किल्स डेवलप करने के लिए हैं. दे आर यू नो, not just as you say personality development programs, I think they are professional development programs also. And ये focus करते रहना होता है. Even after you join a school or college, you will be regularly having your faculty development programs, FDPs, so that constantly you're on the go and you never feel that you're lagging behind. You're constantly abreast of the times. As a human being, as a professional, you have to be compassionate, you have to be empathetic. We've already discussed the meaning of empathy. Make sure you're an agent of change. I think morning mein, when my introduction was being given and someone had mentioned that I was awarded the Rajiv Gandhi Excellence in Education Award, उसमें एक line लिखी हुई है उसी certificate में, which says I am being awarded for being a catalyst of change, for adding new dimensions to the field of education. That's the kind of, you know, aura you should have as a teacher. That's the kind of work you should do. You should add some innovation, some ideas of yours and bring about a change, a positive change in the field of education. And yes, handling you know, student diversity, you should be in a situation where, so it's more like जैसे HR होते हैं, they are having this job. So as a teacher, I think आपको HR भी बनना पड़ता है. You have to be like a second mother also. You have to be an inventor and a discoverer also. So there are so many variety of roles that you're required to play to come across as a professional teacher. And it's not easy to be a teacher, let me tell you. So just go ahead, do your best, keep learning, keep striving and keep thriving. And with this, we come to the end of today's session here. So I'll just stop sharing my screen with you. Okay, we'll just put my video on. Yes. So I hope I've been able to, you know, answer a few of your doubts and clarify your doubts. In case, Jyoti ma'am, if we have time, we can take up some more questions if you want.
Ma'am. Yes, students, any questions from your side?
Ma'am, a small question.
One by one, I think the first one is Shubham.
Ma'am, a two alphabet question, ma'am. No, ma'am. You said we should say no, but yeah, I have been practicing it for a quite long time, and it is a bit difficult to say no.
Yes,
because
yes, it is tightrope walking, and I think personal life में फिर भी no बोलना आसान होता है, professional world में और भी मुश्किल होता है, and that's precisely the reason why I have given you a few suggestive sentences. See, Shubham, I think एक yes बोलना बहुत अच्छी बात है. Okay, because that way you come across as a person who's always willing to work, who's ready to accept new challenges in life. But you have to be practical at times also. अगर आपके पास एक दिन में 8 घंटे काम करना है and you are given 10 major things to do, तो आप जल्दबाजी में क्या करोगे? You will not be doing justice to all those 10 things or tasks that have been assigned to you. तो आपको practicality भी देखनी पड़ती है at times and you're required to say no, otherwise आप वो 10 चीजों को justify ही नहीं कर पाओगे. So इसलिए it is important to learn how to say no. And this, as I mentioned, मैंने खुद भी बोला है, ये ऐसा नहीं है कि आज आपको मैंने कुछ 4 sentences दे दिए और आपने use कर लिया and you learn how to say no. This comes with practice and experience. And as you mentioned, आपने already start किया है. Initially आपको problems होंगी, but धीरे-धीरे you will see things will work out. And I think if we are professionals, जो thoroughly professional होंगे, they will never feel bad about it. At least you've been honest with them. वो समझेंगे इस बात को कि आपको ये प्रॉब्लम्स हो रही हैं, दे विल एज अ मैटर ऑफ फैक्ट, जैसे मैंने कहा, मुझे प्रिंसिपल और चेयरपर्सन दोनों एक टाइम पे अगर सेम काम दे देते हैं, अगर मुझे सेकंड टाइम पे चेयरपर्सन सर ने बुलाया, आई विल टेल हिम कि मुझे मैम ने ये काम दिए हैं सर, राइट नाउ आई डोंट थिंक इट विल बी फीजिबल फॉर मी. If the chairperson feels उनका काम ज्यादा जरूरी है, he himself will immediately call the principal and tell her or him कि ऐसे ऐसे मुझे ये काम करना है, पहले करवाना है, is it okay with you if I can get it done? So this is how professional communication actually works. So इसमें वो चीज नहीं है कि मैंने उसका काम नहीं किया तो वो बुरा मान जाएगा, वो बुरी मान जाएगी, because at the end of the day we're all professionals. So continue your work on saying no. Sooner or later I think you're going to ace this, so don't worry.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Anyone else?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, I have a question, ma'am. Like, it is always advised to first think and then speak. But it happens in my case that, ma'am, I got so much excited whenever it comes to speak. If I know I used to speak, and and after speaking, I now started thinking that whatever I have spoken, that was good or not. Means after that, the things means excitement reduce, and then I start thinking. So, ma'am, how to curb this type of or resolve this type of issues?
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
See, there was a time, जैसे मैंने आपको बोला, मेरी first job was at the age of 29. So obviously कई सारी चीजें मुझे भी उस समय नहीं पता थी, because I was very new as a professional. So I think anger management के लिए ये technique काफी use होती है, and I think you can use the same technique to make sure कि आप थोड़ा time लेकर बात करें and sensibly respond करें, right? So I think what we learn is कि आप खड़े हुए हैं या बैठे हुए हैं, you just count 10 on your fingers and then respond or react. तो ये एंगर मैनेजमेंट का टेक्निक है, बट आई थिंक यू कैन यूज इट हियर आल्सो. जस्ट मेक श्योर दैट यू आर स्टैंडिंग देयर, काउंट टिल 10, एंड तब तक आप अपना दिमाग को शांत रखें, and then after 10 seconds probably start responding. So again, as I mentioned, this will take time, this will take practice also, but you can ace it if you want, and you can do it with a lot of practice. But you're right, कई बार हम बहुत जल्दबाजी में, excitement में बोल जाते हैं, and that can land us in trouble also. So take your time and then give your answer.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're most welcome.
Yes, any other questions? I think, ma'am, everyone is done with their questions. And
yes.
Shubham, beta, please check once again if ma'am is there, principal ma'am in the
Yes,
participant.
principal ma'am.
Hello. Hello,
Yes, good morning.
everyone. Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, ma'am.
I'm there. I'm very much there. So, Bandan Preet ma'am, thank you once again. So
thank you once again, ma'am, for having me.
I've been thanking you, because thanking you means thanking a family friend and thanking a family member of AIE. You are very much part of us only. So there is no thank you, but a lot of thank you. Yes. For keeping your patience high and for always being there with us, and for always being available for enriching our students and their skills. Thank you so much, ma'am. I believe that students must have enjoyed your session today once again.
In fact, I'm humbled and overwhelmed, ma'am. Thank you so much.
That was very insightful, talking to you, listening to you, and looking to you even, your smiling face, and that is all that positivity we can feel. Thank you so much, ma'am. And thank you, Jyoti ma'am. Again, no thanks, but a lot of thanks to Dr. Jyoti Tiwari for coming up with such lovely names for this PDP sessions. Thank you, my dear students, for being patient and for being so cooperative and lovely all the time. Thank you, everyone. Wish you all a very happy and a nice day.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you once again, and looking forward tomorrow for another enriching session, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Ritu, for the introduction once again, and Shubham for all the technical support, and all the students for being, as always, very interactive. But I would like to see more students joining in tomorrow and the next and the last session. And thank you, Jyoti ma'am, for hosting me, for all the hospitality. It really means a lot.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It's always a pleasure, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. I'll take your leave.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thanks to
Thank you, ma'am.